Alright. Imagine if serendipitously this break happens at like exactly the halfway point of the recording, and we're just starting the second episode right now.
But instead it will happen when there's like 10 minutes into it or something.
Yeah. Or like when we're 10 minutes away from the end of the first route. Oh, hey, this is our only second thing from Mute here.
Yeah.
A proper damn... Isn't Mute the one we're supposed to be talking to anyway?
Yeah, but I guess we got sidetracked.
I mean, I'm okay to get sidetracked here. A transcription fragment of a conversation held with Smith Song Chung. Oh, that was how I knew shit had gotten serious. He actually agreed to let me pick the drinking house we went to. My oldest brother only ever humors me when he's really trying to get on my good side. It's never a good sign. Well, I mean, it's good for me, but certainly not for him. I'm sure a classy lady such as yourself wouldn't be familiar with this kind of place. No, you know the sort, tucked away in an interior deck, lots of wood furniture that's been stained, and not intentionally, with just enough commoners milling about to give a good background soundtrack. Oh, and it's run by a woman. Nice lady, too, so it's that sort of place. We arranged to meet up at the door. It's been a while, brother. Sorry I couldn't speak to you sooner, he said, trying to be polite. You're full of shit, I said. But hey, it's good to see you. So what do you want? I mean it, he said. He's a bad liar. So why here, anyway? At that point, the owner came by, asking what we'd like. The only real thing you need to know about, Chin'e, right? Is that she's around my age, she's got the biggest tits I've ever seen in my life, and she dresses like a commoner. So you can certainly see them. Oh, he said. Fair enough. Bring your finest soju, I ordered. Please. She responded, you can't afford our finest.
Our soju is only for the strongest, and you are of the weakest.
Totally not true, by the way. My reputation for being a cheap drunk? Completely unfounded. Honestly, I have no idea where people get these crazy ideas from. Anyway, far be it for me to argue, I just reply, maybe not, but my brother can. I mean, I knew he was going to ask me for money, that was obvious. Might as well get as much as I could out of him before giving whatever he wanted, right? Fine, we'll be sharing that, he said. Oh, then added.
Whoops, I think we missed a page. Yeah.
But how much to share it with you, too? She blushed. Amazing, really. She's got a lot of practice dealing with people like my brother. But I saved her the misery of having to flirt back with him. Do you really need more of that kind of trouble right now? With that, he let her go. Anyway, drinks came. We argued about the loose definition of finest, our server's tits, in the good old days when father was still alive and we didn't have to work out our problems ourselves. The biggest bullshit ever, I said, is that we're expected to be responsible men here. How'd that happen? He laughed and was now drunk enough to start taking cheap shots. Is that why you've never bothered to be one? Ouch. I said, damn it, hurry up and pour me more. I'll drink to that. He poured, but he didn't say anything. Alright, so what is it that you want? I'm getting the impression that you have a problem, and you want discretion because you're talking to me. Right, brother? I was right. So where did you put it this time, brother? I asked. Put what? He replied. Oh, cut the shit, I said. We both know full well that all your problems in life have always, without fail, stemmed from you putting your dick somewhere you shouldn't have. He grunted in disagreement, but it's totally true. Was it at least a female this time? I swear to my father, brother was about to punch me. Didn't though, instead he just drowned his drink. Yeah, that's the damn problem, he said. She's saying she hasn't bled in 2 months now. Courtesan, I promised him I'd help. Better she gets bought out by me than by my brother, the high magistrate. Less suspicious that way, involves nothing unlawful. Believe me now, a proper damn gentleman, that's me. Gay subtext?
Perhaps.
Or gay text of it, but Smith, that's you.
Smith Songchung. I don't really know how to feel about him. I don't know. It doesn't really sound like anyone thought he was a very good person. It looks like he never married or anything. I guess he was friends with Mew? Well, that doesn't surprise me. He just seems weird. Like, it sounds like Sochin was kind of off-put by him, and I don't really blame her. I don't know. I have no idea how to judge him. See for yourself, I guess. I've added a few more things about him.
Good to know. Uncle, oh wait, no, the H has a weird sound at the beginning. Where's the
pronunciation.
And so does D, actually, doesn't it? It's like we take a break for a while. Alright, so D is T. Oh, yeah, okay, that one makes sense. And H doesn't have one.
Yep.
So Uncle Tai-Ho. Look, I'm sorry about our last conversation, alright? It's like I said to you before. You just caught me at a really bad time. So-Chin was in bed on rest on strict doctor's orders. I'm sorry that you brought your wife all the way to get turned away like that. When I told So-Chin that you had given her well wishes on her pregnancy, she was happy but sad she couldn't see you herself. Our child was just born last week. A daughter. We decided to name her Min-hee, and So-Chin is recovering well. The doctor said that it would be fine for her to see visitors next week. I'm sorry I got angry. If your wife still wants to see mine or the child or my mother, by all means you're welcome to visit. I really hope there's no hard feelings, Uncle. The wife of Song-kyu. You can probably put this more diplomatically than I can, because I'm pretty sure younger brother is still thoroughly pissed off at me. You know how he is, of course. I don't have time to deal with that, especially when I'm already doing him a huge favor. The bad news is I made an appeal to the captain and Emperor himself personally, but he said there was no position that a man of Song-kyu's skill set could possibly fulfill. I did most certainly plead, but let's face it, what official role could that man possibly fill? He's an idiot. Don't pass on that last part, he already knows. I did, however, speak to the Park son and was able to convince him to forget the whole incident. It wasn't cheap, I might add. I'll continue to send your family a regular stipend, but please keep your husband under control. I can't afford to keep cleaning up after his damned fights.
Oh, yeah, I'm not really sure what all that business is about, truthfully. From what I understand, though, Smith Song-kyu had a tendency to get in trouble. He sounds really unpleasant.
Good to know. And so, one of the brothers there. Was that the drunk one?
I think the drunk one was, Song-chun.
Song-chun, who died before the other two. Okay.
Song-min was the womanizer, and Song-kyu was the one who had a reputation as a thug.
Okay, just pointing this out there, everyone's death date is 3/22.
Yeah, I wonder what that means. That's kind of ominous.
That, alright, great.
Well, let's check the other family tree, also. Yeah, wow, there's a lot of 322s in there.
Alright. Good. Great. That can only mean good things. Alright, so a visit from Song-chung. My husband was out of the house, as he usually is during the day, so our servant fetched me instead to tell me that someone was at the door. I was in the middle of a conversation with Mute, but had no idea how I was expected to respond to that. What do I do? I asked her. She just responded in that usual shocking, crass manner of hers. Gee, I don't know, you could try answering the door, maybe? Just a thought, of course. So I excused her and went to do that, but with a great degree of nervousness. I had never done this before. The door was my youngest brother-in-law, Song-chung, who I'd only met a few times before. Although husband mentioned him often enough, usually in the same breath as calling him an irresponsible drunk, seeing him did nothing short of compound my anxieties. Hello, sir, I stammered. So-Chin, he responds with unbelievable volume. It's great to see you again. Hope you don't mind my dropping by unannounced. I just figured I haven't seen my new niece yet. It's been forever since I've been in the old house, so I thought I'd stop by and say hello to your daughter. I don't know. Sorry. My husband isn't home right now. Maybe you could come back later? I said, shifting uncomfortably. Oh, please, be a good girl. Let me come see her. I'm really not here for your husband. This was awkward. I didn't exactly want to turn away my brother-in-law, especially if he just wanted to see baby Min-hee. But this was hardly proper. It really wouldn't be my place. Sorry, you'll have to wait till my husband gets back. I trailed off. He rolled his eyes, then smiled at me. Really? Come now, you're a smarter woman than that, he said, and put his hand on my shoulder. This had now moved on to incredibly uncomfortable. You really value his authority that much? He's my husband, I responded. What else could I say? He replied, wow, no wonder he walks all over you if that's how you treat him. You've got to learn about dealing with men, dear So-Chin, especially my brother. But come on now, this is a bad conversation for a doorway. Can't I see my niece? I hear she's rather adorable. I took a deep breath. I'm sorry, I said, trying to be as bold as I could. I'm going to have to go now. Sorry. And I started to close the door on him. Alright, I understand. I'll talk to myself later. Don't worry, I won't mention this visit. Just say hello to her mother for me, though. He said, and left. My heart nearly skipped a beat when he said those words. I stood there in the doorway for a good while, stunned. Even now, I still have much to think about. Not simply his knowledge of our child's true mother, but a matter of great secrecy, but also what he said about my husband. Perhaps his words were true.
I'm really sorry. Please don't get mad, but I don't really understand what you're looking for. Maybe I'm just not getting it, and it's my fault, but I can't find anything that seems relevant.
Well, then why did your icon light up?
Oh, well.
Oh, well. That's fine. A clerk.
Yup.
Now, I've been a clerk for a while. It's my adopted name, you understand. It's not as if I haven't heard all the stories about High Magistrate Smith's song mean in his legendary temper, but I always figured they were an exaggeration. Especially after I met him for the first time. The man seemed like the absolute model of a gentleman, and rather calm and unemotional. I'm not criticizing him, I just never imagined that man getting angry. It was while an official was presenting the facts of a murder case to him, a drunken brawl between peasants gone horribly wrong. It all seemed satisfactory enough. A dozen men had seen it. There wasn't really any doubt about it. So far, so good. Very well, the High Magistrate said. Let me read the confession, then, before I pass the sentence. The official didn't have one, which is reasonable enough. A lot of times I can't get it out of them, and I've never seen a magistrate who was really all too concerned about those details. Excuse me? You don't have a confession? He said, and his mood sounded soured right there. Why are you wasting my time, then? He looked at the accused who had been kowtowing silently up until that point. You! Do you even admit to killing him? The murderer seemed confused, and it took him a minute to realize he was being addressed. Furthermore, when he did figure out, he simply kept mumbling, not my fault, wasn't my fault, and such. The High Magistrate was furious. What is wrong with you? What is this man doing in front of me in a state like that? He doesn't admit to doing it. What do you expect me to do? He demanded. After some silence from the official, he continued, It wasn't a rhetorical question. Please enlighten me. What do you expect me to do here? To punish him? The official finally offered, weakly, as confused about the matter as I was. Punish him? This was what set him off completely off the edge. He stood up, shouting, We are not given the responsibility of punishment. What are we, barbarians looking for vengeance? The point of justice is to teach immoral men like him the error of their ways, he lectured, shouting at the top of his lungs. And how do you expect to do that with a man who won't even admit his own actions? Does this look like a man he's ready to learn? Does this man look like he's ready to learn? Do you seriously believe that? Are you simple? The official looked as though he was about to argue, but then thought against it. Smart move. The High Magistrate continued more calmly. Now stop wasting my time and get him out of my office. Come back when you have a confession and as a clue as to what your job actually entails. With that, he left, leaving the official speechless and leaving me realizing that perhaps a legendary temper and being a model gentleman weren't quite so mutually exclusive as I had thought. Interesting.
Oh, well.
Ah, well. Again. Let's see what else we got. Drank himself to death. And Osochin is...
not included because she's a lady.
Oh, right. Oh, wait, no, right there.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
As horrible as it is to say, I don't think anyone was really surprised when brother-in-law Song Chung was found dead. Nobody asked how, nor has anyone so much as mentioned the word drinking in my presence since. Even the ordinarily extremely candid Mute has been entirely somber. Mother-in-law, I understand why she's been taking to it so hard, and have been working hard to stay well out of her way while the funeral preparations are being settled. But Mute? I had no idea they were so close. Yet in our last conversation, I could have sworn she was on the verge of tears. Never seen such a reaction from her in all my time here. As for myself, I have an awful confession I can make to no one. So I've put on a somber face, acting as though I'm sad as the rest, since that is, of course, what is expected. But it pains me to admit that I'm not. It's not as if I don't find it tragic, and I feel bad for thinking this, but I didn't know him at all. How could I possibly bring myself to feel as upset as I'm expected to be? Got something to comment? Q&A?
Well, you've seen pretty much everything that matters about the Smith family now. I'm still just parsing this all myself. You know, most of it's new to me, too. I mean, when I was alive, I didn't even know the Smith family existed. Well, maybe Chai-Hua mentioned them once. I don't really remember. It's been 600 years, but I don't think she did. I really wish I'd known about Sochin at the time. I really, really do. So what do you think? Are you satisfied with that overview?
What if we say no?
I don't know.
Do we get more?
I don't know. It's a mystery.
What should... not quite satisfied yet.
Oh, well, I'm really sorry. What were you looking for? Is it just because the story ends abruptly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it does. Well, I can't really do anything about that now. I'm really, really sorry. But that's where it ends.
Alright, good to know.
Do we have more stuff?
Nothing that we haven't read. And this would show us, yep, no messages are unread. Let's talk to Hyune.
So, what can I do for you?
Fair. Well, at this point, we could go talk to Mute.
I guess maybe we have to do just that.
So it's what?
Enable AI.
Enable AI. Alright, well this is the person we came here to talk with, so let's see what Mute's got to say. Nyan!
Nyan. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Do you want... No, you can be Mute. That's fine.
I get to be the robos.
Yep.
Okay. What the hell is going on? Wait, remote connection established? Is somebody out there from outside the ship? Okay, sorry. I'm just taking an inventory of systems right now. Could you give me a second here? Like, I've been out of commission for 622 years? Right, that's kind of messed up. Anyway, I'm up to speed now. Logs are basically saying that nothing's happened since I went offline, except the ship's slowly losing power, and the main reactor has seen better days. But you, hello! You're the first person from outside the ship I've had contact with in, well, as far as I can remember. I'm Mute, AI in charge of the Mugunghwa security operations. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Okay, it looks like I can't actually get any text input from you. I'm guessing this is all that crazy-ass murderess's fault. I'm sorry.
What? What?
But why don't you tell me a bit about yourself anyway?
Wait, what crazy-ass murderess? What?
I don't know. Like, sorry, this is kind of a weird question, but are you a man or a woman?
I don't know, Professor Oak. You tell me. Turns out Professor Oak was actually woke this entire time, not assuming gender. Let's go with female.
I'm not sure. Those terms that... Yes, pick woman.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. Those genders don't exist anymore in this distant future. Sorry, Mute.
Man, really?
We only have genders like plaid and...
Don't make fun of my gender. Plaid is definitely my gender. Whoop.
Really, oh man, really? Wait, hang on. You're a woman that can understand computers?
Say no.
Awesome. I mean, the Pale Bride could understand computers too, and she was a psychopath, but I'm not trying to be unfair here.
Wait, so Hyune was a psychopath?
Mute seems to think so.
Okay, I think we've gotten a really unbalanced picture of what's been going on so far.
I'm sure you're really smart for a woman. Sorry, it's just a knee-jerk reaction. Don't think anything of it, okay?
Don't you know how to use gender-neutral pronouns? God damn it, Mute.
So, where are you from? Earth, or are you from one of the colonies? Wait, they're colonies, right? I always got the impression that this ship was supposed to be founding one. Oh, okay. So are you from one of them, or from Earth? I'm
from Earth. But we right the outlaw wrongs on Mars.
Cool. I wish I could ask you what that's like. I think I'm from there too, but, well, my memory only goes back 300 years before getting deactivated. Pretty much all my knowledge of anything before the year 0 comes secondhand from the Pale Bride's childhood diaries, and man, they're about as childish as it possibly gets. Guess I'm not really going to find out more with that line of questioning, though. Right. Okay, what else is important that I can ask in binary questions? Oh, I know. So, do you have a husband?
No.
Oh. I'm not judging. I mean, I don't either. Sure, that's because I'm just a computer, but... So, how old are you then? We're old and busted.
I'm under 18 or I'm an old lady.
Ah. Well, my condolences. It's not like it's the most important thing in life. Well, okay. I guess it is. So, sorry. Related to that, I, don't really know much about spaceships or anything, but I can get a visual on yours, and it looks really, really small. is it just you all alone there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. You're a woman in the middle of space all on her own? Sounds awfully scary. Well, I think that's about all I can think of for now. Sorry, it's not really a lot to go off, I know. Although, I guess I did get the most important things.
Wow. So, Mute definitely has bought into the whole,
Yup.
the whole cliche to keep in mind.
I'll let you know if I think of anything else. Anyway, from what it looks like, you were going over some logs with that crazy murderous bitch, right?
What?
I'd love to help you with those instead. As an added bonus, I promise I won't ever commit mass murder, unlike a certain someone.
Interesting.
Well,
Wait.
There's the Smith family tree. Oh, she wants chat. Well, you've seen most everything about the Smith family now, except the most scandalous stuff. I'm sort of wondering what you think of their fall.
They had it coming?
Maybe.
I think they had it coming.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I hope it's not just because you're perversely entertained by watching great man fall, though. Anyone could see it coming, but it's still utterly wrong. Show a little respect. Anyway, regardless of whether you think it should have happened or not, it was a pretty terrible thing to happen to what used to be the greatest noble family. And certainly they didn't deserve to be first brought down by the Kim family, then murdered by the Kim daughter.
What?
Maybe it's... I don't want to say that Song Chung was lucky, that's not true. If he was around, maybe things would have turned out better. He always had a way of making things perfect. Still, I'd rather he be killed by his own habit than by that girl. He deserved better than what he got, but it would have been even worse if not for that, is, I guess, what I'm saying. I hadn't really thought about it that way before. Really, were he around, that's totally what he'd say. Practically imagine his voice, even. The drink will inevitably kill you, and women will inevitably kill you, so I'd rather take the one that isn't always bitter. Or something like that. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's enough of all that. Would you like to see some of the more scandalous stuff from the Smith family now?
Hell yeah.
Okay then. Oh, this isn't for the faint of heart, but you're gonna love this. You will not believe what Smith Song-min's wife was doing behind his back.
Learning how to read?
I'm warning you right now, it does get a little bit gross, but, well, wow, just see it for yourself.
Alright, so hold on, we have options at this point.
Well, let's talk about the family tree first.
Nothing changed.
But she has things to say.
Okay, yeah, so... no, that's
you. Right. Okay, yeah, so here's what a family tree is supposed to look like. None of that weird cluttered mess that Hyunai did. But here's a few notes of my own about some of the women that you might actually care about. Smith Song-hee, older sister of the main Smith branch, married into Huang family in 285, widowed in 314, taken in by a younger Huang brother in 317, no sons. Oh So-jin, married Smith Song-min in 310, no sons or daughters of her own. Shang-mi, courtesan, purchased by and married Smith Song-min in 313, no sons. Hana, courtesan, entertained Smith Song-min, no sons or daughters. Smith Min-hee, Smith Song-min's daughter by the courtesan Shang-mi, promised to Park family but not formally married.
Interesting what you consider important, Mute.
Well, I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it? That's what a genealogy is supposed to look like. Hope that's more helpful. So wait, what was the difference?
I
don't know.
I don't know what this looks the same.
Did we get some more info about the wives?
Probably yeah, this part wasn't here before. Alright, whatever.
Let's ask Mute about the cliche to remember.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Because we can ask Mute about all these fucking documents now, can't we?
Probably. Okay, yeah, no. Abased? Seriously? What a complete and utter misrepresentation. In case it wasn't obvious, that's a completely liberal and messed up translation. Yes, it's a common phrase, but that's not what it means. What it really just means is male superiority. That's all. Fine, it's a cliche that kind of states the obvious, so what? I don't know where she's pulling this women are abased nonsense from. It's stupid.
Huh. Alright, so we've got an option at this point.
We can also ask about the other family tree in case the mute's got any more info there. Oh yeah, what a mess. Leave it to her to clutter things up with useless names. It's no surprise coming from someone as childish as her, of course. Do we get any more info on the pages after?
Nope. That's the same stuff that was there.
Alright.
So we can either go through some of these logs with Mute, since Mute hasn't commented on most of these, look at the new stuff that we've got with Mute, or we could go back to Hyuna and ask, hey, what the fuck is with you being a mass murderer? Or check out this new block with Hyuna. How do we want to play it?
I don't know.
I'm kind of interested in what Hyuna has to say for herself.
Yeah, actually.
Let's, let's see what's up, Hyuna.
Hey, Hyuna, did you by any chance kill fucking everybody? Just saying.
Hey, I've got questions.
Well,
doesn't seem to have anything to say for herself yet.
I guess let's just look at those new logs.
Yeah. Unsent letter number 1 from Oh So Chin. When I first saw you bringing my husband home in the late hours of the night, I was jealous. All I could think of was my daughter and the first courtesan he'd had an affair with 9 years ago. With every brief glimpse of you I saw as you passed through our home, my heart burned a little, as if you embodied every single fault of my farce of marriage. I will never send this letter because I know how ridiculous it sounds. For weeks, I, a noble wife, could be jealous of a poor courtesan, but you are young and beautiful, full of energy and grace, and I'm none of these things. So this must be to Hyuna, then.
Nope, because Hyuna was the Emperor's bride.
Damn it, I'm always going to mix those two up. Only after you had been entertaining him for a month did I start to realize what I was actually feeling. True, I was jealous, but not of you for having my husband. I was jealous of my husband for having the affections of a girl so pretty as you. These are such ridiculous thoughts for a woman to have, I know, and even more ridiculous still is the way they have overwhelmed me. I used to dread my husband bringing his courtesans home with him. Now I look forward to your nights together. How could I not when it means that I'm treated to the sight of your bashful face in the morning? When we exchange glances, you hide behind your long hair with so much cuteness and grace. My eyes can't help but wander to admire the way it rests on your breast, to see your clothes draped loosely over your hips. I cannot help myself from admiring your body as you try to hide from me. It's ridiculous to be so preoccupied with such thoughts, and perhaps I was better off having not ever realized them. Nevertheless, even though I may be as much of a woman as you are, I find myself longing for the same affections that you shower my husband with. There's more to it than that. I would truly like to get to know you better. Imagine that we have much in common aside from the obvious. When I see you hiding in the corridor on those mornings, I imagine wrapping my own arms around those lovely hips, sharing long conversations about our tribulations in life, and discovering just how much alike we are. And perhaps I'd like to imagine we could share more than that. I've been married for 10 years to a man who has never paid me any attention for 9 of them. Perhaps my old age has made me bold, but I want more. The next time I see you, I promise I will say something. For in all my 26 years, I've never felt a longing for anything this... An old woman? Jesus.
Old and busted, 26.
I don't care how wrong it is. As a wife and as a woman, I want you, Hana.
So...
What do you got to say about that one?
Person. Oh, so you've read those then?
Yep.
Not that it was seen appropriate for women to spend time with anyone but other women or anything, but, so, why are you showing this to me?
To hear what you think.
We're showing you because he's gay. Well, why do you ask? Do you, approve of that sort of thing?
Yeah?
But it's forbidden love.
But it's forbidden love!
I see. Well, it's... When she said she wanted to be seduced, I can definitely really understand that. Especially if it was someone I really liked.
Really?
That sounds like a good thing to me.
What was that? What was that first?
Nobody knows. Not that I could really imagine doing that with any of my servants, but Geez, why are we even talking about something this embarrassing? Can we please talk about something else?
I suppose. My art is that of lies and lying, and of both I have much practice. I've said to men I love you falsely. I've suffered in pain but smiled in pleasure. But the hardest lie I ever told was that I could live without you. Jesus, that's bleak.
I said I didn't really want to talk about this more, alright?
Fine. So we can't just straight up ask Q&A what the whole murdering stuff is about, can we?
I guess not
'Cause
yet.
we don't have a log to show her.
Yep.
So let's go back and chat with Mute then.
Yep. We can probably get some more info about the gay stuff, and maybe that'll lead us into some things.
Yeah, so do we want to go over all the old stuff with Mute? Or do we want to first, before we go on to the new stuff? Or do we want to just jump into the new stuff with Mute? Just in case she's got anything to say.
Yeah, let's see if there is anything, just in case.
Alright, so block 2 is where the new stuff is, correct? Okay, so we'll do those last. Let's start with block 3 and see what Mute has to say about this stuff. So this one is Oh So Chin.
That's actually from before I knew her. It's pretty hard to imagine her as a blushing newlywed, honestly. She was an awfully good friend of mine. We chatted a lot. Look, I mean, don't get me wrong. She did a lot of things that were really wrong and really gross. I don't condone that, and I definitely don't understand it. I mean, I'm sure you know exactly what I mean. I just don't want you to think that I'm as bad a woman as she was or anything. Not that it could be cheating or anything. It's not like you can have love with just women, but still, gross.
Oh, Mute. We got some stuff to tell you.
It's the future, and we have invented a way for two women to have sex with one another.
Although you gotta be careful, because in space, when you nut, it pushes you back. I love how the memes went from vintage to last month.
But please, look past all that. Like, yes, she was a bad wife, but you have to understand, it wasn't her fault. It's like what I reported to my mistress, Mugunghwa. None of the problems in her marriage were her own fault. She was just the wife of a lousy man, plain and simple. Mostly, she tried to do the best she could. I don't want you looking down on her, understand?
Alright, good to know.
That's got one?
Oh, yeah, well, this one is from Mute herself. Got anything to say about this?
Well, this is what I told him at the time. I could have maybe, done without the description of her breasts, but that kind of story was definitely pretty common for him. The part where he cleaned up after his family's mess, I mean, not the details about immoral-looking common women. And, well, the drinking, too. But look, that part he had good cause for. Sure, it was his ruin, but you can't blame a man for that.
Really?
I mean, the stuff he had to put up with, if your brother had it like that, I'm sure he'd do the same. It wasn't all that bad, really.
I like how she assumes we have a brother.
We'd spend a lot of evenings drinking together, talking long into the night. Well, he would, anyway. Obviously, not really so much drinking on my part. But he was the kind of man who'd still pour a glass for you all the same. So that whole sarcastic thing about him being a proper gentleman? It's not sarcastic, he really was. Well, he was being sarcastic, but still. He totally, absolutely was the best damn gentleman around.
Weird. Hot take. Hashtag hot takes. And what's this one about? About the Changmi, who has their daughter since she can't.
Yep.
Okay.
High Magistrate Smith Sangmin, huh? Well, as High Magistrate, he was one of the highest ranking officials until just before the end.
The end? You want to tell us about the end?
I don't want to paint a misleading portrait. As I understand, he was a very just man and performed his function quite well.
I want to continue with this, but why are you putting on not one but two of my hats?
I felt like it.
Okay.
I'm getting in character. It was politics that caught up to him in the end. It's like I reported to my mistress, Mugunghwa. He might have been a good magistrate, but his family conduct was less than the pinnacle of virtue. How many wives a man takes is no business but his own, and he never did anything illegal, but knocking up courtesans owned by the court, man, that's just bad politics. And just completely unfair for his primary wife. Can you imagine?
Hashtag poly problems.
So that's why he lost his position. Years of embarrassment in the family finally culminated in him turning into a real liability for the Emperor.
Man.
But it wasn't always like that. Here, let me try to paint an even portrait of him for you. I've added an assortment of logs about him. I hope this gives a good idea of what I mean.
Good to know. We'll have to check those out. I believe this block was filled out, though, so they're not going to end up in here, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So,
let's keep going.
Next one is I'm sorry. Nothing for that. No luck. Okay, she's got something to say about this. Probably put this more diplomatically than I can, because I'm pretty sure your younger brother's still thoroughly pissed off at me.
This was the one where Song-kyu can't get a job.
Gotcha.
I know it sounds like Song-mi is just being harsh on his little brother, but I assure you, his characterization of him isn't wrong. I honestly kinda tended to avoid him. I was friends with his older brother's wife, and his younger brother was an absolute gentleman, but he was not a very nice man. He was the sort of person that the court exams were supposed to keep out in theory. Didn't work, of course. He studied just as well as brothers, or so Song-chung told me. Here, you want to see the usual sort of behavior that you'd get from Smith Song-kyu? I've added another entry, this one by the Kim son.
We'll have to check that out. Legendary temper. Or visit from Song-chung. Oh, this is when the brother comes up and is all like, hey, what about your daughter's real mother, huh?
Yep.
Okay. What do you got to say about that?
Man, reading that, I just can't believe that's her. She used to be so timid. Thinking of me as having a shocking, crass manner, or being afraid of her brother-in-law at the door? Well, it's all what I expected from her at the time. She just changed a whole lot as she got older. Well, honestly, maybe not as much as I thought. She might have gotten bolder behind her husband's back, but in front of him, that never really changed much. Well, what do you think? Should she have listened to Song-chung about being less deferential to her husband?
I certainly think so.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure you'd say that. You're not only outside of home, you're off in the middle of space.
Oh, hush.
Space is my home, I am a space pirate.
Right?
So don't you dare look down on her for that. Don't you dare. I mean, I'm not judging. If you really think that's an appropriate thing for a woman to do, then, well, whatever. But look, Sochin wasn't like you. She did understand her place, ultimately, and she was interested in being a good wife. Either way, well, she did change in some ways. In some ways, not for the better, as you've seen from her relationship with that whore. That's why it amazes me so much, rereading something that old, knowing that what she would later sink to. Ah well.
It just sounds like she wasn't happy being straight.
Yeah.
Drank himself to death.
That's the next one. We are on Legendary Temper.
Legendary Temper. Okay. Oh, so this is where he blows up in court.
Yep.
Because because he's looking for justice, not punishment.
See, he wasn't always that bad.
What's bad about it?
He was an embarrassment and far from a pinnacle of virtue.
Seemed like he was arguing the opposite.
I didn't think that highly of him, but at the end of the day, it was about politics, not about his character.
Interesting. Drank himself to death. Okay. So what about Song-chung dying?
Of course I was on the verge of tears. He meant a lot to me. I mean, you know, I'm just a computer. He wasn't family or anything, and it's not like I have the body for that kind of relationship.
If you try hard enough.
But still, he was the closest thing I had to a husband. We had a really close relationship. I really did love him. He kept getting his dick caught in the CD drive. I definitely can't forgive her for not sincerely mourning his death, or not taking it seriously. He was a great man. I'm just disappointed in her. It really is an awful confession. He really did deserve much better. So much better. Sigh.
Huh, that's rough.
That's rough, buddy.
That's rough, buddy. Alright, so we went through block 3. Let's go through... Oh, block 4 has new stuff in it. Let's go through blocks 5 and 10 first.
Alright.
Since we'll have to jump around the new stuff.
The month of good fortune.
Anything to say about this? The second month of the 318th year.
The one where we learn about the pale bride hatching out of an egg.
Excellent. Can you just keep doing all these in the form of a Friends episode title? Because that actually really helps.
That I will do. So, you've talked to her a fair bit, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of Hyune?
I don't
hate her.
Good options. I don't hate her.
Seriously? You can stand her? Did she tell you about the whole mass murder thing, or did she conveniently leave that out?
She left that out.
No, of course not. I'm sure even that awful bitch is ashamed of what she did. It's probably better if you don't hear it from me, though. I don't think you'd even believe it. Better to ask her yourself.
We tried.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is give you an entire block that's full of nothing but questions for her.
Oh.
It might be a little hard to get the whole story out of her, but if you fake sympathy, she'll probably actually believe you. So, there you are, a few questions to give to her. Drag the truth out of her, then tell me how crazy you think she is.
Okay, so what if,
well,
instead of retreading these with mute for right now, which we can still do, that's an option, why don't we go ask Hyune about, now that we can actually go to Hyune and ask her these questions.
Yeah.
I'm hyped to do that.
Let's do that.
I want to know. Hey there.
Well, we've got some new logs, too, though.
Do we want to read those with her first?
I think so.
Before we start getting all, aggressive and combative?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Get her to trust us a bit more first. Oh, dearest brother of mine, as I'm sure you know, it's been 3 years since my husband died. Still mourn him in my heart, of course, and I'm sure I will forever, but the official mourning period's over. You probably also know that the Huang family isn't doing very well right now. Terribly, in fact, and it only got worse when my husband died. It didn't help that we only had daughters, so I don't exactly have a son to look after me. Right now I'm completely at the mercy of his parents and, well, as I said, no son. They only took me in because of that big dowry. They sure never liked me, and it's only gotten worse, way worse. So I need you to help me out, or they're going to just abandon me. Do you remember that story we read together as a child about that widow who had to turn to begging? I'm sure you remember how it ended. Well, that's going to be me at this rate. Don't worry, though, I have a plan. I've talked to my husband's brother about this, and I also managed to discreetly fish some information out of his parents. They'd be willing to let me get married to him, and all you need to do is to chip in a new dowry. 1.5 times the old one would be enough. Please respond as soon as possible, little brother, because I really need your help here. Love, Song-hee. That's pretty brutal. Oh, fair enough. Ain't got anything to say about that one, huh? Smith Song-min. Sister Song-hee, calm down. They may not be nice, but I'm sure they're not going to kick their son's widow out on the street. Do you have any idea how terrible that would look for them? It would be a huge disgrace on their name. As for remarrying, I'm sorry, but that's a lot of money you're asking. Besides, you know how much remarriage is looked down upon. Chaste widowhood may be a difficult standard to hold yourself to, but you will be honored forever if you can manage it. And if anyone is good enough to live up to that standard, I know it's you, big sister. I wish I could give you an easier way out, but I hope you realize it's for the best this way.
Damn.
Ouch. Cold. So then why'd your thing light up? Don't light up your thing if you ain't got stuff to say. Oh, generous and benevolent young brother of mine. I know you think I'm being hysterical and exaggerating. I'm not, I promise. It's funny you mention the importance of chaste widowhood because they're talking about that too. Of course I don't think you've got the same ideas in mind. They're talking about the sort that ends in an honorable suicide. Actually, they've been talking about it a lot. We could, of course, go with that option, take my own life to honor his memory. Would you like to help me out with that? I'm not really very good at either holding knives or tying nooses ever since arthritis got serious, but if you could help out, that plan could work. How old is she at this point?
I don't remember.
If you're too busy to help your sister kill herself, though, you could just do the next best thing and send that dowry. I'm sure somehow you'll manage to figure out a way to find the money. I have faith in you, little brother. Mind you, again, of course, that appealing to that family honor is a waste of time. Father married me to a merchant, remember? You're talking about honor, but trust me, I've lived in this house for over 2 decades. I've looked everywhere, even under the sitting cushions. They just... Man, she's got wit. So I'm going to ask you once more, little brother. Can I send a new dowry, or failing that, come by with a nice sharp knife? But if you can't bring yourself to do at least one of those things, then my destitution is on your head. You think Father would be proud of that? You are the son, you tell me. With love, your sister Song-hee.
I want to see the Smith family tree again, that I can see where that fits in, and also so that we can answer the question of how old she is.
That was in year 317. Okay.
Who was she writing to as little brother?
So that's from Smith Song-hee.
To Smith Song-min. So she was the older sister of Song-min. So she couldn't have been much older than her 40s or 50s.
Oh, wow. So I guess lifespan really got pretty nerfed in the latest patch.
I mean, they don't have medicine.
Yeah, apparently. What the hell? Sister, you are going to be the death of me, but I won't be the death of you. Fine, I'll figure something out. Tell his parents that I can offer them as much as the old dowry. Send a messenger by next week to work out the delivery of it. You're such a woman, do you know that? Manipulative to the core, that's what you are. The death of me, I swear. Nothing? Okay. Oh, and then we've read that one. Missing just one in there. Okay, let's go through block 9, then we'll go through Mute's questions. The new bruise. Dearest Mother, I really could use your advice. Husband has been working very late into the night recently on some business that he won't even share with me. I understand it's his reluctance to talk to me about things that his superior has sworn him to secrecy on, and that damned child's been keeping me plenty busy anyway. But I still wish he could tell me. Last night he was out even later than normal. And when he finally did return, he had a black eye, his face and hands bloodied. Looked really bad. The sight of that has really scared me. Of course, you of all people know that I'm hardly squeamish at the sight of blood. It was how hurt he looked. I hurried him to the kitchen and started to clean his wounds. I meant my voice wavered when I asked, "Husband, what happened?" He was reluctant to answer and grunted in pain when I convinced him to put ice on his bruised eye. He finally did, and you absolutely can't repeat what he said to me, do you understand? Not a word of it to anyone, not even to Father. But I truly need advice. I had some questions for the High Magistrate's office. He sent his brother, Smith Song-hee, to answer them. That's the dumb, nasty one. My husband trailed off thinking. Asked him something that he didn't agree with. I had the moral high standing, but he had the physical high standing. His wound's clean, I didn't know what to do, but touched the uninjured part of his face to comfort him. Then he joked. Turns out his argument hurt a whole lot more than mine, but I could tell underneath that he was truly hurt. What do I do, Mother? How is a woman supposed to respond to such an awful thing? I tried to comfort him as best I can, but I just don't know what else I can do, Mother. Please, you must have some advice.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. You know that courtesan who did those scandalous things with Oh So-chin?
Yep.
Well, it turns out she actually did cross paths with young Suk. I thought maybe you might be interested in that. So I've just added a log about her, written by him. I wonder if his wife ever heard about it. Sorry, I'll let you get back to what you wanted to talk about now. I just thought that might be something you were interested in.
Let's check that out.
Is that also in block 9?
And it looks like she also had something else to say about that one.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So we'll go back and do bruise before we do bribe. Kim Young-suk. The incident occurred right as I was leaving the magistrate's office after a late night of going through some of his paperwork. The corridor lights had long ago dimmed, and the office should have been empty. So the horse linked against the wall right outside definitely stood out. She's small and looked very young, and obviously she was dressed like any commoner, with her arms covering her otherwise exposed breasts. And commoners don't wear clothing? What?
I don't know.
I won't lie and say she wasn't attractive. She certainly was. I'm sure she was very good at her role. Hi, the horse said, approaching me. You're, Kim Young-suk, right? I said yes. My name is Hana, she said, offering her hand to shake. It's an honor to meet you. I didn't take it and told her it wasn't appropriate to be talking to her now. But I've got a message from Smith Song-min that he really insisted I deliver, the horse said, moving closer. Can I come inside? I said no, of course. Then I could tell exactly where this was going and was not pleased. Please? He was really insistent, she said, putting her hand on my face and smiling. I slapped it away instantly, shoved her into the wall. Tell him I said no, I snapped at the whore and walked away. She chased after me for a little while, but eventually she seemed to realize that she wasn't going to get me and gave up. She was gone by the time I got home. Still can't believe he actually thought that would work. And I want to know more about what the High Magistrate's association with that whore even was. Alright, so do you have anything else to say about this one?
Nope.
Nope, okay. And since you showed us this one...
Nope.
Nope, okay. Alright.
Does that mean it's question time?
Question time. Start at the top.
Yep.
How you doing?
What is this? You talked to Mew?
Yep.
I don't know what she told you, but you really shouldn't listen to her. All she ever did was gossip, and I'm certain she hasn't changed a bit since back then. Please, don't trust her. She just spins everything to make everyone look bad, no matter what. Please, promise? Seems good.
Okay.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. At least you gave me a fair chance. Well, if you show me one of her questions, I'll tell you the truth, but I don't think it's what she'll expect. Well, to be honest, nervous. I'm really, really nervous. It's just you're the first person I've talked to in so long. I'm really happy about that. But, well, I'm exposing a lot. I know you promised to trust me and all, so thanks. It's just, this is all really new to me. But it's good. I'm glad. I wouldn't be so nervous if I wasn't happy you were there to listen.
Aww. I think Mute is, or Hyune is falling for us a little bit.
Maybe.
How do you feel about Mute?
Wow, there's a tough question. I mean, you seem like a really good person. I think I could call you a friend.
Oh wait, is this about us that Mute's asking about?
Yes. You seem to be a really good listener. I like that. Does that answer your question?
I don't think that's the question Mute was asking.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think that's the question Mute was asking.
I don't know.
Oh, what does that answer your question? Sure.
Okay, good. Not that I really understand why Mute was asking.
Yeah, see, those are from Mute.
Are they?
Mute's questions.
I thought it was... Huh. Jeez, my word, what are you talking about? When have I ever not treated you with respect? I don't know what's wrong with that awful AI, and I definitely don't know what's wrong with you. Why would you even say something like that? Jeez.
Oh, these are things that we can show her.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
that was mean.
Oh, no. Well...
Oh, here we go. How do you feel about Mute?
I think we should ask them, because we've got lots of things to ask. Uh-oh. Right, well, remember when I said that I'd never interrupt you unless there was something really, really wrong? Because that's annoying, and I don't want to bother you, but... Look, I don't want to scare you here.
It's your fault, but...
This isn't your fault, but we have a really big problem. I'm sure you've noticed that static on the line, yes? I was wondering what was causing that, so I checked, and it's, well, look, don't panic here, please. But it's, well, a reactor meltdown in progress. I'm really sorry. We've been running in low power mode for so long, and that was fine. But when you re-established communications, everything started up again.
Uh-oh.
Which should have been fine, except it's been centuries since the last maintenance job was done, and I'm not really sure what's wrong. Yet. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is bad. This is really, really bad. I don't know if you're really aware of how this works, but we're running on nuclear fission. And, it looks like we've got about 20 minutes before total meltdown. It's already running really, really hot right now. I wish I'd noticed sooner. I'm so sorry.
Oh, shit, there's a timer.
But, well, let me put it this way. This ship is about 20 minutes away from exploding. Can you make it out of range within 20 minutes?
Probably not.
Maybe not. I don't really know much about nuclear reactors, but yeah, that's what I expected. Don't panic, though. I can walk you through shutting it down. Just stay calm. Everything will be fine.
Good to know.
What I'll need you to do is drop to the terminal and disable the nuclear reactor.
Okay.
If everything's working properly, it should be that simple. I mean, I'm sure it won't be. This is a really old ship, and clearly already one thing has gone horribly wrong. Anyway, your first step is to at least try.
To disable the reactor. Okay. That's the first step. Let's try it. How do we...
Well, let's help. How? Looks like we have reactor.
No backup power supply is active.
Oh no, we don't wanna terminate right now.
Okay, so let's go back. I hate countdowns. They fucking make me so anxious.
We have 20 whole minutes. It'll be fine.
We just did that.
Okay, well let's...
Or did you already try?
I tried. Ah, curses! Of course it couldn't be that simple. Very well. Let me try to take account of the ship's system. See if I can't figure out what's stopping you. Ah, that's pretty bad. Right, very well. I know what the problem is. So here's the thing. There's 2 power systems on the ship. One's the nuclear reactor. The other is, well, it's called the power storage system. It doesn't really generate anything. It's just a battery, basically. That's what the ship's been running off, in low power mode, and that was fine, except restarting the communications totally drained it. Geez, ship goes 600 years of just running me with no problem. Send a few radio signals and everything goes to hell. Anyway, I see what the error was now. If you turn the reactor off right now, everything will shut down forever, because it can't fall back on the power storage system. But don't worry, don't panic, there's a backup. If you switch to that, it should be quite alright. Right, so all you have to do is switch the power storage system to use the secondary battery instead. Then you'll be able to disable the reactor safely.
Okay, so we gotta change the backup power.
Alright.
Okay. Alright. So, power control, right?
Power control list, I guess. What does PSS do again?
Oh, PSS switch battery. I think that's what we need, right?
Probably. Alright. So, now we gotta turn off some subsystems, I guess.
Alright, so how do we turn off subsystems?
That was in the nuclear reactor list thingy that we were at before.
The,
power control.
Power control. Okay. Control. What's the list again? Okay. Do not ever disable. Got it.
Alright.
Okay, so what is it? Power control disable.
Let's try waste and rail. We don't need those.
Waste.
And we can do multiple in a line.
We can?
Yeah.
Rail. Sensors. Don't just main computer. Gravity. Docking.
Seems good.
What about cores 3, 4, 5, and 6?
Perhaps.
Because they're not in use for anything.
Let's see if that's enough.
Okay. Now, what is it that we needed to...
PSS.
Power usage at 24%. Do we need to lower it more then?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Power control list. We need to get rid of 4%, right?
Yep.
Communications. There we go.
Well, we can't get rid of communications because that's how we're communicating.
Oh shit! So it's gonna force us to make a pick here.
Yep.
Disable bulkhead. Shit. Should we report back to Hune? Because we can't go any further without disabling something else.
Yeah, let's see what... she got anything to say. I guess just we do think.
Okay. What are we gonna... What is it? Power... Control... Disable... Mute?
I think so.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Poor Mute.
No.
We gotta do one or the other, though.
Wish we didn't have to.
Spoilers. There is a way.
Yeah, shut up. So then it's... PSS switch battery?
I think we already got the battery switched, so we want to check PSS and see if there's... if we've got the power usage low enough, and we do.
So now it's...
So it was one of the other controls. Let's check help. It was reactor. What? Never mind.
Oh, we have to switch it still.
We still have to switch it. I lied. I was wrong.
It's alright.
Wait, we have to enable it is what we have to do. We switched the battery, but we didn't enable it.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, right. And it was reactor disable, right? Yep.
Yep. Yep.
This may take a minute. We don't have a minute. Well, I guess we have 12 and a half of them, but still.
Oops. Didn't work. Explode.
Damn it. I love how this is like almost the same climax as digital. Except this time it didn't take us a full fucking hour to figure it out. Okay, so now what? Now we talk to Hyune, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we got that working. We had to turn off mute to do it. I don't feel good about that, but...
Uh-oh. We still have a problem. It's still at a critical temperature. Well, the good news is you're safe now. I'm not, though. Even if there's no nuclear explosion, it's... just the heat alone can do enough damage to the computer systems to, well, kill me.
That sounds no good.
This is really bad. Please, you have to figure out something to deal with the excess heat. I'm suffering from some serious damage. Some subsystems just aren't responding. My word, I feel like I did when I was alive. I feel like I'm dying. Please, you have to do something.
Okay.
Let's do something.
How do we do... Should we talk to her? Does she give us help to do something?
I don't know. I think we should see what options we got at the terminal.
Okay. Let's find out what our options are. Use override terminal. Alright.
Let's help.
Help. Oh, whoops. I actually helped.
You did. It was cute.
Power,
Let's see what the power controls let us do.
Okay, that's not going to help us. Let's try PSS.
Wait.
We don't have a lot of time here.
Yeah, we don't. Fuck, I could have sworn it was in the power controls. Because PSS is just the battery.
Okay. Alright, so what are our options? Download disable SU. What does SU do again?
Switches the user to
Okay.
be the admin.
Okay, reactor PSS copy. Let's copy.
Alright, well that doesn't seem like the thing.
So it's gotta be in reactor, right?
It is, I believe, in power control where we were before. Oh, Hyune wants to talk to us.
What's up?
Maybe she figured a way. I've got it. I know what you can do. Quickly, enable the bulkheads, enable the emergency life support, then disable the bulkhead seals.
Okay, enable bulkheads, enable emergency life support, disable bulkhead seals.
There's not enough safe air left on the ship to actually keep anyone alive, but it should be enough for venting the excess heat into space. Quickly, there isn't much time.
Enable bulkhead, enable emergency something, then disable bulkhead.
Yep.
Okay.
And the something was life support.
That's under power control, right?
Yep.
Okay. So power control, enable bulkheads. Power control, enable... What was the other one?
I think it was life support, but I don't know how it is in the list.
Now! This is not the time for... Okay. Life underscore support. Okay. Got it. Control life. Enable life underscore support. And then disable core, right?
Disable the bulkheads.
Disable bulkheads. Disable bulkheads. Hey!
Nice. We saved the day.
We saved the day. Can we turn mute back on now?
No.
Okay. Power control enable core. What core is she in? Core 1?
Core 1. Nope. Anyway.
Oh, that's brutal.
Oh well.
Alright. What's up?
You did it. You did it.
Hey, we win!
The nuclear reactor is now both completely deactivated and at a safe temperature. We're safe. I was pretty scared there for a moment. I mean, it's not that I didn't think you could. It's just the thought of actually dying for good was scary. It was scary. But you did it, and I'm fine now. Thank you so much. I'm sure you're breathing a little easier too, right? Well, that was close. I think we both really deserve a break from the serious business. Don't you agree?
Not really.
I think so. That was pretty tense. Let's have some tea. I thought so. Whew, really? My word, that was such a close call.
I'm still a bit peeved that this happened right as we were starting to get some juicy questions for her.
There's actually something I've been thinking about for a while that I wanted to ask you about. And, well, I had sensors working before. I've seen your ship. I know it's only big enough for one person. It sounds awfully remarkable that you could have a ship like that just for yourself. I just mean, in my time we were using generation ships, and that was incredibly state-of-the-art. So, is that normal? Do you do this all the time? Go on strange adventures by yourself in deep space?
Yes.
Hell yeah, that's our job. Wow, that's really amazing.
This is the game that becomes a genre unto itself.
Yep. Remarkable. See, when I found out that I was going to get put into stasis to wake up far later, that was the future I always dreamed about. One that was full of amazing things, like, I don't know, holograms, miracle medicine, ships that travel faster than light, colonies on other planets. That sort of amazing. I mean, I've never liked science fiction. It's just too unrealistic. But when I was a kid, I figured it'd still be fun to live in it. Imagine my surprise. But it sure sounds like you're from that future. Oh, sorry, I'm rambling, aren't I? It's just the idea of finally getting that perfect future that I was denied, traveling with someone in deep space, well, that sounds awfully romantic. Sorry, I'll stop now. Let's get back to the serious business. All right. Well.
All right, let's keep going on those log documents. We got some more questions for you. I know this is kind of uncomfortable, but...
So...
We started with... We stopped at 3, right?
Yep, 3 was the last one we asked about.
What do you really look like? That seems rude, but...
Well, about a few thousand lines of assembly code and a few gigabytes of memories, I suppose, sitting on a hard drive somewhere. I don't really know what that looks like. Oh, I guess you actually meant before I died, didn't you? Well, I was 13 years old when I woke up, and 16 when I died. So, well, I looked younger, but I wasn't really all that different, just shorter. And I guess, smaller in other places, too.
How coy.
Everyone always did say I was pretty, though, even when I was really young. So just, I guess, picture a shorter version of me without the glasses and with my hair in some dumb braid or another, in a hanbok, and that's pretty much it. I never really got to dress up the way I wanted to. Even, this is the first time I've been able to wear my school uniform since I was 13, before I got put in stasis. How silly is that, being excited about wearing a uniform?
I've had a few evenings like that.
And I mean, you know how much I was into cosplay. I never really had a chance for that when I was alive. Why do you even ask? What are you thinking?
You're being dishonest? You look good.
Yeah.
You look good.
Ah, well, thank you. Anyway, we should really get back to the more serious stuff, don't you think?
I got a couple more questions for you. Still haven't gotten to the point where you are telling us about murdering folks. How old are you?
Isn't that the one question you're never supposed to ask a woman? Geez, so rude. Well, I was born in the year 2415 and put into stasis for I don't know how long. Then I lived for another 3 years and died about 622 years ago at the age of 16. So, you tell me how old I am. I don't know. Really, I don't think it really matters at this point, does it?
Fair. How do you feel about Mute?
Oh, of course that'd be one of her questions. Well, let me put it this way, I suppose. Does she have anything nice to say about me?
Not really.
That's what I thought. Really, I don't know much about her, other than what I've read in other people's logs. She never talked to me, ever. I mean, she wasn't above talking about me, but no, never anything to me. That's all I know about her. She's a gossip. I don't even want to speak to her now.
Why couldn't you just settle for a happy marriage?
It's not like I ever thought, as a child, I would never marry. You tell me, though, could you marry someone you'd only ever talked to once? Probably not.
Of course not.
Well then, maybe you shouldn't be judging me for it. It's not like it's my fault. We both read the same logs. I wasn't the only person on the ship to be crushed by a horrible marriage. Maybe I could have done unspeakable things with our servants, like Oh So-chin did. Is that what Mute meant by a happy marriage? Sorry, I'm not usually this sarcastic. I just don't think it's a fair question. The two older Kim sisters, you should read their letters. Here, I'll show you. They had it just as bad. It's a really unfair question to ask.
Alright, we should read those. And then the last question here, right? No, there's a couple more. Did you ever have any friends? It's a great question, actually.
After waking up from stasis, I only ever had one single friend. Oh, two I meant, now that you're here.
Aww.
Anyway, before it was just her. The Queen, my husband's wife, Ryu Jae-hwa. I wrote about her a lot in my diary. I'll just show you. It's probably better if you read it for yourself. These are from right after I got married.
Good to know. Why did you kill all those people?
Look, there's something you need to understand first. After waking up from stasis, I only ever had one single friend. Oh, two I meant, now that you're here. Anyway, before it was just her. Etc., etc.
Yep. That's the same answer, though.
Yeah.
So not gonna tell us why you killed all those people?
Well, first we need to understand the thing that she showed us.
Alright. Sassafras.
So we got two new things.
Block 1 is entirely new.
So that's the, older Kim sisters, right?
Yeah, let's do this one first before we get all intimate. Dear Soon-hee, I wish we had more of a chance to talk before I left. I'm sorry it was so sudden. Not my choice, please believe me. It's really weird living in someone else's house. Even just like the place itself, you know? The walls of the house are way smaller. There aren't even separate women's quarters. It's pretty much just paper divider separating us from the men most of the time. I can see and hear everything. It's so very weird. Also, there's a lot more to do around the house. If you thought Mom was strict, wow, Mother-in-law makes her seem positively gentle in comparison. I know I'll just have to get used to it, but she kind of scares me. Plus, we don't have any servants here at all, so I have to handle pretty much all the chores. I'll try to write to you regularly, though, so long as I can find the time. Mother-in-law keeps me pretty busy during the day with housework, and my husband keeps me pretty busy during the night with other work. It's pretty much chores all day, every day. All day, every day. I'll try sneaking another letter soon, alright? With love from your older sister, you and me. So far sounds good, right? Things fell apart between them with time here. Let's see for ourselves. Okay. Let's go to letter number 2. Letter to Yoon-mi, number 1. Dear Yoon-mi, I wish you could have found the time sooner. But if you say you're busy, fine. I believe you. Things aren't very interesting at home. Mom's been really busy lately. I think she's in a big hurry to get me married. Wish she wasn't. You didn't have to do interviews until you were 14. Lucky. One of them seems nice, though. I think the name's name was O. Talked to his mother about you for a little bit. Don't remember what brought it up, but I told her about the dolls you left me. Second interview we did, she brought me one of hers from when she was my age. And said I could keep it. Interviews suck, but I think I'd be fine with marrying her son. I mean, if I really have to, she sounds better than your stupid mother-in-law. Dear Yuni, thanks for being able to come to my wedding, even if it was just for a day. Don't worry about what Mom said about you not having kids yet. You shouldn't take that personally. I was really happy to see you again, since I wasn't sure I ever would. I love you, big sister. I'm sorry for bothering you with this so soon after we spoke, but I really need you to answer something for me. I don't have anyone else to ask, and I'm really worried about something. It's embarrassing, but I just have to know. The night I moved in, my husband and I slept together. I'm not ignorant of how that's supposed to work. I know why. Afterwards, my husband said everything was fine and that I shouldn't worry, but it really hurt a lot. I was crying the whole time, and he injured me so much. There's blood everywhere. I'm not supposed to question him, but that's not normal, right? Should I insist on seeing a doctor? He seems nice besides that. I just don't understand. What should I do, big sister? Love, Soon-hee. Let's see what the response is to that. No, you don't need to see a doctor. Sorry to be the bringer of bad news, little sister, but I'm afraid your husband's right. This really is normal. Don't worry about freaking out either. You're a lot younger than I was when I got married, so it's probably even worse for you. I'm so sorry. It gets a little easier after the first time. It's still uncomfortable, though. You just have to endure it. That never changes. I'm sorry. Don't worry about the crying either. I might actually find that to be attractive, so just keep doing it, and you'll probably make him happy. If you're lucky, though, you'll get pregnant quickly and won't have to worry about any of that for months.
Well, that's fucked up.
Yeah, could you tell from how my voice... Ugh. That aside, though, how have you been? How's your new family? I haven't heard much about them. I kept trying to ask Mom to tell me about your husband, but all I got was that lecture about how I was nearly 3 years old when she'd been married for so long as I had. As if I'm not trying. So do tell me more about him and his family, please, Soon-hee. I'd love to know. Love for your older from your older sister, you and me. That is fucked up. Okay, will do. Sent my last letter that I was pregnant. And thanks for the congratulations, but I hope you didn't rush to tell Mom. You have to send her the bad news. It was a false alarm, I'm afraid. I bled this month. I hope you're doing better, little sister. Your child is due any day, right? I wish I could have written you sooner, but I'm afraid I haven't had the time. What with having a real pregnancy and all to worry about. My mother-in-law insisted that I take the time to write my family, though, so I just finished a letter to Mom first. I'm sorry about your false alarm. I did tell Mom, and she wasn't very happy to hear it. I'm sure you're not really surprised by that, though. The good news, I gave birth 2 weeks ago. Her name is Ji-in, and she's the cutest little child you'll ever see. She reminds me a lot of our little brother, though she has her father's eyes, really. Really wish you could meet her. Just know you'd think she's absolutely adorable. So I'm a mother now. I still can't think of myself that way. It's so weird. Right now she's just so small, she can't even lift her head, but every time I look at her eyes, I wonder how I'm going to be able to raise her. Mother-in-law says I shouldn't worry. It'll come naturally, and she'll be there to help. I guess that's true. I definitely don't know what I'd do without her. At the very least, I sure wouldn't ever get any sleep. Just scary, you know? Wasn't it just yesterday that we were playing together in our father's house? Now it's been nearly 16 years since I was born. I'm a wife and a mother. How did we get so old? I mean, it could be worse. I know it's a good age for both of those things, and it's really disappointing if you're older and haven't managed that. I have it good. Just odd to think about. But I'm not complaining, and when you're a mother, you understand why, big sister. I just love her so much. She means everything to me. Anyway, I'll stop rambling. I think Ji-in is crying to be fed now. Mother-in-law can't help with that, so I'll leave it there. Take care, sister. Love, Soon-hee. Dear Soon-hee, well, maybe you could use a little more caution in what you send to Mom, because it's not like you don't know how annoyed she can get, especially at me. The reason you're the only one she actually still talks to. I'm trying, you know, but I can only do so much. Congratulations on your daughter. I'm really excited to hear about that. Yeah, it's a shame that I can't see her. She sounds wonderful. I don't really have much else to say. I wanted to acknowledge your letter. Things haven't really been worth talking about. My mother-in-law is still a crazy tyrant, and my husband and I are still trying to have a son. Nothing new, nothing worth mentioning. I'm glad things are going much better for you. With regards, you and me. Dear and me, how long has it been since we last saw each other? It feels like it's been forever. I wish you wouldn't be such a stranger. I have a 2-year-old son now. Oh, Jesus. His name is Tai-hyun, right? And he takes after his father in a lot of ways. Tai-hyun?
I believe that the AE was A sound.
Yeah. Oh, and the T is a D. So it's a...
Was it?
Right? Oh, no, it was the D that was a T. It's Tai-hyun. Hyun? Because the U is a cut sound. Right? No, U is in rule. Okay, so it is just Tae-hyun. Okay, yeah, Tae-hyun. And he takes after his father in a lot of ways. He just started to learn to talk now, much earlier than Ji-in did, no surprise. Ji-in's a real sweetheart. She's what reminded me of you. Two of them had fought, so I was scolding her. I told her that I was disappointed, that I expected better from her as an older sister. Gave her the whole filial responsibility speech, you know, one that Mom always used to give. It's funny, I hated that so much as a kid. I promised myself I'd never guilt my own children that way. I would just think to myself, well, it worked, didn't it? Anyway, she asked me what it meant to be an older sister, and I had trouble with that one. Finally, I said, it means you should be a good role model. Teach your brother what it means to be responsible by example. Show him. That was a good enough answer for her, but I thought about it, and it's not a good enough answer for me. Not at all. It's you that I've been thinking of, and you know, it turned out okay. I wish I could take back what I said and tell Jean what I'm going to tell you. You don't have to be perfect. You're not a good role model, but that's fine. I love you anyway, big sister. I always will. And if everyone's disappointed in you, even if you're not really family anymore, as far as I'm concerned, you're still my big sister. You don't have to be perfect. I love you, period. Please write back, sister. Even if you don't have good news to report. I just want to hear how you are. Love, Soon-hee. That's fucking brutal. Yeah. Alright.
Don't say I didn't warn you, though.
Good to know. Unsent letter to Soon-hee. Dear Soon-hee, you know what? Fine, I'll tell you the truth. The false alarm, it wasn't a false alarm. I didn't lie about the bleeding, that was true. But I really was pregnant that time, more than I let on in my letter. As in morning sickness, giant belly, you could see it. I was really pregnant and bleeding. My husband brought in the doctor immediately, who asked me all sorts of questions about everything. I was fine, perfect health, no injuries. I told him. So he pulled out his instruments and started listening for my son's heartbeat. And listened. And listened. And listened. It felt like forever that he kept trying, and I couldn't understand why he couldn't find something I knew just had to be there. The obvious never occurred to me. He had to explain it. I'm sorry, the doctor said. There's no heartbeat. The fetus is dead. You couldn't do anything about it. It took a week for the actual miscarriage to happen. It was the worst week of my life. It was hellish. You've had 2 children. I'm sure you know that wonderful feeling you get when you realize you're with a child. That you know that you're going to have a baby and you can feel him inside you. And imagine what he's going to look like and what he'll grow up to be and all that. Right now, he's dependent on you more than he ever will to keep him safe. You know the feeling, I'm sure. Just the day before, I'd been so happy I was going to finally have a child. After I find out, I could still feel him. Dead, but still inside me, sloshing around. The day before, I thought I was filled with beautiful life, and I was actually filled with death. I would have no son. What I was carrying was just a corpse weighing me down. I thought I'd feel better once I expelled it, but then I saw this awful, bloody mess that should have been a son. It was awful, so awful. After I saw it, my husband had to force me to wash myself because all I wanted to do was crawl into my bed and die. I didn't get out of bed for a whole month after that, save for a brief hour so I could write you to tell you that I wasn't pregnant. Eventually I recovered and realized it wasn't really all my fault. Eventually we started trying again. After all, what you, Mom, and Mother-in-law have all been implying is right. Be a lousy wife if after 8 years of marriage I still haven't had a child. So we tried, and I did eventually get pregnant. Then it happened again. That was half a year ago. You're right, I'm not perfect. I'm as broken as it gets. The one most important thing in the world for a woman to do, and I can't. You've been pregnant twice, and you now have 2 wonderful children that you love. Pregnant twice, and all that happened is I've killed them both. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why. The doctor says I didn't do anything wrong. But clearly I can't bring life into this world. The only thing I can bring is death, little sister. Today I overheard my husband talking to my mother-in-law about considering taking on a second wife to actually give him a child. He sounded really disappointed in me. I don't know what to do. Kill myself, maybe, since killing seems to be all I can do. It'd be better for everyone. It'd be easier on my husband, and you wouldn't have to worry about me being a disappointment. This is the only thing I can think of. What else could I possibly do? Jesus fucking Christ! Fuck!
Yeah?
Sorry, I'm just gonna have to get off the field train at the next stop here. Can I pull the cord? Just like, let me off, please.
I don't know about you, but I had a really hard time reading that the first time. Can you imagine that? It's even as if I knew her. I didn't even know either existed when I was alive. I mean, sure, their mother mentioned that she'd had daughters before, in a sort of abstract way, but she never told me so much as their names, let alone, well, anything. Anyway, none of that was my original point. My point was, now do you see what I mean? When Mute talks about a happy marriage, that's what she's talking about. It's not as if I'm the only woman to have a horrible marriage. It wasn't my fault. That's what happens. That's normal. She wants to talk. I don't know about you. Oh, it's the same?
Yeah, it's the same.
And then we got an all-new block of logs, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Criminy Christmas.
Oh wait, that was the one that we saw one from mute and then it got deleted.
Yep.
Alright.
Let's read about this. Oh, this is you again.
Dear Diary, I guess it's been forever since I cared enough to write anything down. I just haven't seen much point. Since my last entry, I got married, moved into the palace, and lost my virginity. Apparently for a girl my age, none of these things were really all that weird. The Queen finally insisted on talking to me the night after I first slept with dearest husband. I'd been expecting it. My sister warned me that she would probably be jealous, and I'd just have to endure it. She outranks me, and I would simply have to kowtow to her if needs be. I haven't had to yet, though. We had tea together, and she at least has started by acting friendly. I'm sure sister was right. I'll get the brunt of her anger soon enough. But today she was friendly. How are you holding up? She asked me after she finished with tea. I shrugged. Do trust me, I know how hard it can be for a newlywed. I've been through it myself, but I was at least older. You probably miss your family, do you not? That's what would be expected from any good girl. So...
Oh, it's me.
I nodded. It gets easier with time. I had no response. I'm sorry, am I bothering you? You can leave if you wish. I simply thought you might like some company. I wasn't sure how to respond to that either. I just clasped my hands and shook my head. I just wanted to be sure, she said. There was a long pause that followed. Finally, she asked, how was last night? It surprised me that she was willing to bring up the subject. Figuring that it was a segue into her being vindictive towards me for sleeping with her husband, I shrugged as she continued. I just know he can be rough. Nobody ever talked about those duties with me. Then she smiled, and I felt like I could almost drop my guard. I had no idea what to expect my first time. Do believe me, I'm not jealous. That is nothing to be jealous of, but do tell me how it was. It made me think back on last night. Honestly, it was the best night I've ever had since waking up in the future. Everyone, my mother, my sister, and now my queen, warned me that it would be bad, it would be a duty and nothing more. But I honestly did love it. I would have let him keep me up all night if he'd had the energy for it. I guess while I was thinking about all that, I let out a slight smile. I caught myself, but not before she noticed. Oh, did you enjoy it then? She asked, touching my arm. I jumped. Please, please, be at ease. That is perfectly all right too. So long as you know it's just for him, there is absolutely no shame in that. There is none. I expected her to jump into something passive-aggressive from that, but she didn't. All she did was change the subject and say that she really was worried about me. Maybe she isn't so bad.
You know, Hyunei didn't have much to say during that conversation.
Yeah. Weird, huh? So, you can see, she was kind. She was good to me, she really was. I take it you want to know more about my marriage, then. What are you interested in? I'm sorry, I'm not really ready to talk about him, not beyond what I wrote in my diary. It's just too hard. It's not as if we had conversations. You think our relationship is one-sided? You have no idea. Anyway, here I can give you some more. There's an entry from Jaehwa in there. She did talk to him. She was, well, a lot stronger than I ever was. So you can see for yourself why I admired her. And, well, just read them, alright?
Should we ask her again and get an... Oh wait, nope, I guess that we got the same result either way, huh?
And with that, a second intermission.
Oh god, just in time. This episode's getting long. Alright, let's find out about Little Sister.
Dear Diary, attending to my husband has been easier than I was afraid it would be. Yes, there's days when it requires more strength than usual to keep going. I'm still getting increasingly more sick, nothing will change that. But it's not so bad, really. All I have to do is dote on him and try to anticipate his desires, and he's happy with me. No abuse or anything. Sure, it's not as if I like him, but baka. He's an ugly 40-year-old man who cares only about politics and never tells me anything. Love, well, that's certainly no concern. I don't know where I ever got the impression that was something that could happen in a marriage. I thought that was something from the past, but, well, I was young before I got put in stasis. It must have been a mistake of childhood. But so long as I do it as I'm told, I'm not mistreated like I was by my sister. And sleeping with him feels good. I really hope I don't get pregnant soon. I don't want that to stop. Doing that is really the only thing that makes me actually happy these days. Well, that and Jaehua's talks with me. She's nice. She keeps me company when I stay up to wait for his return. She fetches servants to take me to bed on the days I'm too feverish to sit for too long, and she just talks to me as if I'm a friend. I don't really understand why, but I guess she really doesn't hate me after all. Do let me tell you, she said one evening while she brushed my hair. I always wanted a little sister growing up. That's how I think of you. Does that make sense? I shrugged. It was nice of her, and it felt so relaxing to let her touch my hair like that. She wasn't waiting for a response anyway. By now she knows better. She just keeps talking kindly to me.
It's hard to imagine this is the same Hyune that was, making those earlier comments. Yeah.
One wonders what broke her.
And no responding, huh? Knows better than to expect a response? You seem pretty talkative now, Hyune. Oh, hey, this one's mine.
Yep.
By Ryu Jaehwa. The more she lives in my house, the more I'm confused by the mystery that is the Pale Bride. And I wonder why my husband has been favoring the Kim family lately. Her daughter seems to be the perfect woman. She's not simply a pale beauty, she's always too shy to speak at all, let alone argue. Seems to hang off his every word, and turns out is actually so completely humble in her education that she cannot even read. Or rather, she cannot read normal characters. I've observed her writing to herself in perhaps what may be a diary. When asked what it was, she wouldn't say, but was quick to hide it. I could not recognize a single character on the screen, however. They seem simplified and compared to regular writing. Perhaps she has invented a writing system just for herself. It is very strange. Did you ever receive those letters I sent to your house before you arrived? I asked her. Curious. Seemingly she had. Did you read them? Response was worried, as if she was scared that I would be angry to find out that she hadn't. I was not, of course. I'm sorry. I had assumed. Are you able to read? That was when I found out she wasn't. I offered to read them to her, to which she seemed quite enthusiastic. I think I am likely to leave out some parts, however. I had enough difficulty bringing myself to writing the more embarrassing parts of the family history. Bringing myself to talk about them, even if I know she would never say anything, is just far too much. Like all things with her, I cannot tell whether her enthusiasm is sincere or an effort to make me happy. This troubles me. Got any comment on that one?
Of course I wasn't illiterate. I could read just fine. Just not their stupid Chinese-based characters. I mean, I can understand them now. Everything except for my diary entries is translated from them. It's such a dumb way of writing, though. It makes everything come out so stilted compared to proper Korean. Well, anyway, you're showing me that because you're interested in her admonitions, right?
Seems right.
Then, here, I'll just give you the letters she sent. They give all the details, even the ones she was too embarrassed to tell me about at the time. You can probably guess which parts she cut out. It's pretty obvious. It's the incest thing that she never told me about at the time.
Why does it always come back to incest?
Having read about it now, I don't really blame her. And, well, here, you can see what I mean for yourself.
Alright, let's keep going in this block. Because there's some more Pale Bride diary entries here.
Yep.
Oh!
Whoa!
Whoa! What?
You know...
Oh, I'm sorry. Shit.
Well, we just... You know, nobody ever noticed that until her. Nobody cared. Nobody ever thought any of it, or cared enough about me to find out. But she did care. She actually paid attention. She was great.
Alright, now let's find out
about.
Go ahead.
Dear Diary, I've been thinking a lot about how close my death must be now. That's always a fun way to start a diary entry.
Right?
Lately, I've been getting prone to fainting spells. It probably goes right along with my diminishing appetite. If the doctor from the past was right, I've still got over a year left to live, maybe more. He said it wasn't very likely to get bad enough to kill me until I was at least 18. Although maybe all those years in stasis might have changed that, I don't know.
Well, let's ask the Last Airbender, see what he says about that.
But if he was right, and I haven't lost track of time, I'm 16 and a half right now, so there's still a while. I've been trying to hide the signs of sickness. Even if I could explain, I know full well that nobody would believe me. So far, hiding it has been mostly working, although I did have one of my fainting spells while my husband was on top of me. He wasn't angry at me, though. I don't think he cared. I know all I write about these days is sex with my husband and conversations with his wife. The Kim family would be proud, I guess. But those two things are all that's really worthwhile in my life. I have other responsibilities, of course. They're just not that interesting, and that's about it. Anyway, the Queen has continued to be nice to me. She finally figured it out. We were having tea together one afternoon, and she was talking about nothing in particular, and she asked me some question that I just shrugged to. I hope you do not take this the wrong way, she then said, but there's something I would like to ask you. I nodded. I don't think I've ever heard your voice before. I nodded again. Why don't you ever speak to me? Are you just saving that for the Emperor? I didn't know how to respond. She was so close to getting it, to bringing up the subject I wasn't able to, yet that wasn't the right question. So I shook my head, and hoped that her next question would be. It was. You gonna say a thing?
Keep going.
Then, Hyune, she said uncertainly, are you mute? I felt like screaming yes at the top of my lungs. I was so happy she had finally figured it out. I smiled and was about to nod enthusiastically, but suddenly I stopped. What if she thought less of me if I said yes? If she knew that the reason I was so quiet and demure wasn't because of any sort of discipline? Those were the things people liked about me. Would she stop liking me if she knew? What if she told my husband? I was so terrified. I couldn't think of any correct answer. If I said no, I'm sure she would have asked to hear what my voice sounded like, and I'd be forced to disobey. And if I nodded, then she'd know I wasn't really just trying hard to be a good wife. And I'm sure she would talk to my husband about it so he'd know too. But while I stared at her in terror, thinking of how to respond, she sighed and sipped her tea. Don't worry about it, she said. You do not have to answer. Please, do forget that I even asked.
That's kind of fucked that is just so normal that it took them and her until that long to ask, hey, why haven't I ever heard you talk?
Yeah?
It's not like everyone on the ship is suddenly Jared Kushner, right? Hey, modern political jokes? But I mean, that's super fucked that no one thought to ask that question.
Yeah.
And she's clearly not mute, because she was talking before, when she was younger, right? After they broke her egg, so to speak.
Yep. After they cracked the world's shell.
Nice. My concern over the pale bride's condition has grown. Lately, she seemed to grow even quieter, if such a thing is possible for a mute girl. Perhaps saying she is mute is an assumption too far on my part. I tried asking her directly, but she seemed too scared to answer. It simply makes me more suspicious, and I should like to know why. I addressed my husband on the matter, telling him that I wished to speak to the woman of the Kim family house to see if I could find out what is wrong. He shrugged me off, saying, don't. They're valuable subjects. The son is someone I have my eye on in particular. The politics of this situation are far too delicate for you to be meddling with. I cleared my throat. I might be both my husband and an emperor, but I would not let that stop me from being bold. My dear husband, I don't care, I said flatly. I'm worried about the girl, and I believe talking to her mother might shed some light on the matter. The son is of no concern to me. I don't see why that matters. She's the perfect woman. Why are you jealous? He said, rolling his eyes at me, a gesture that he's only been able to use on me and his servants ever since becoming emperor. Nobody had patience for it when he was a child, and I don't have it now either. Inho, dearest, do you believe that the well-being of your wife is a political matter, or even external matter? I asked. He didn't. So would you say it's a domestic matter? I asked. He reluctantly agreed. Then as a domestic matter is the responsibility of the woman of the house, is it not? Please tell me. You are obviously more well-read in the classics than I said, both of us knowing he wasn't.
Ha ha ha.
Fine, he said.
I like Jaehwa.
Right? Jaehwa's awesome. Just because it's your responsibility does not mean I can't overrule you. He left silent the follow-up. I don't have to take this from you. You do know that my concerns are valid, though, I replied. If you value my opinion, you'll let me speak to the Kim mother. There was a pause. He raised his hand in annoyance. Very well, do it. It's women's business. I don't want a part in it regardless. And he just shook his head. Why must all our conversations be arguments? I smiled at him and left. He already knows the answer. You want to shed some light there, Hyune?
I never knew about that when we were alive. Like most things, I only found out after I took over the ship's computer. It just amazes me even more. Look at her. She's a woman who actually stood up to a man and won. She wasn't clumsy like I was. She knew how to work it from her position. Isn't that so amazing?
In its own way.
Dear Diary, you always forget how terrible it is to cry yourself to sleep until it happens. It's just the ultimate feeling of helplessness. But what's new there, right? I just miss her. Even if she scared me, I miss her so damn much. Che-Hua was the only one who was sympathetic to me. Why did she have to die? Is that my fate? Anything that makes whatever short life I have left bearable must go? Fate just hates me, I've decided. I don't know what killed her. I overheard one of the servants saying that the doctor claimed it was too much worry, causing an excess of wood in the spleen, which he claimed to be common in oversensitive women.
My guy?
I was baffled by the absurdity at the time. I still am now. My only friend is dead, and her diagnosis is absolutely insane. What do you even say to something like that? Well, I guess it's not like I need to worry about knowing what to say. But in light of that, it doesn't surprise me that nobody ever believed I was sick. With medicine that stupid, why would they? All it does is reinforce how hopeless everything is. I just constantly wonder, why did my father or my own doctor think that people would be smarter in the future, that medicine would be better? My servant has been helping me get through all the funeral stuff. Well, I mean, she's been guiding me through the rites. Practically doing them for me, really. I'm so weak and so stunned. I don't even know how I've been getting out of bed. I couldn't describe any of the ceremony. It's all a blur. There's been lots of black dress, I suppose. That's my only impression. And crying. Lots of crying. From me. Look, please, do you trust me?
I'll give it a try.
Please understand my position at the time. My world was so small and I just lost my only friend. And then I'll give you my last 2 diary entries. They have the whole story. Just please don't judge me while you read them. Please.
Oh, we've got some more.
Well, let's see what we got.
Do we want to save those 2 for a second? They sound pretty intense.
Let's see what there is.
Isn't there some other stuff to talk about before we...
Yeah, I think so.
What was it, in Block 6? No, Block 6 is where those were. What's in Block 10?
The marital admonitions.
Okay, we'll do those second.
Really?
Oh, okay, we'll do them right now.
Because we're heading towards the grand conclusion with the last 2 diary entries.
Yeah, so let's leave those. Marital Admonitions, Part 1. To the woman who will marry my husband. As you are doubtlessly aware, it is traditional for a nobleman's mother to write poetic admonitions to be sent to the bride-to-be before she enters the family, explaining the circumstances and proffering advice to her. Sadly, your mother-in-law has long since departed, leaving the responsibility in my hands. I never had any such letters sent to me, for reasons which I'll explain soon enough, and I have furthermore studied verse only enough to know that I am unable to write it well. I hope you do not think less of me, young pale bride, for addressing these letters in plain speech instead. Rather, pay attention to my words over my form, and please do not be hasty in erasing these letters after reading, for your own sake. Hope you find the advice and knowledge I will impart on you useful.
I never read her letters at the time. I couldn't.
Yep, we read about that.
I know she read them to me eventually, but I was just numb to that sort of talk at that point. Now they're just hard for me to read.
To the woman who will marry my husband. As you are no doubt aware, the Ryu family has an extremely long and proud history. Every man to hold the title Captain and Emperor has always been of our house, and you are here to make sure that continues for another generation. The name goes all the way back to the ancient times. Mythology speaks of a Captain Ryu who had control of even the ship's movement through the stars themselves. Such things remain far removed from everyday life, but it is important to understand the significance of the house, and of the title that your first son will eventually come to inherit. So they don't even actually captain the ship anymore, that's just a title?
Yep.
That's wonderful. It's an obvious matter that I do have the same family name as my husband. The official story, if you have not already heard it, is that we are cousins, making our marriage improper and less than ideal, but somewhat acceptable given the circumstances. At the time, there were no noble daughters who had not already been promised or given away in marriage, and obviously a girl of any lesser upbringing could not possibly be suitable as a queen. Hence, cousins would simply have to do. Strictly speaking, this is all true. The part about there not being any noble daughters available is not a misrepresentation. As far as any official genealogy is concerned, the Emperor is the son of my father's brother. The part which you may not speak of openly is that he is the old Emperor's son only by adoption. As far as blood goes, my husband is also my brother. As children, we never lived together, and it would, of course, have been strictly improper to have spent any time together at that age. I would never say anything such that my husband actually arranged for there to be no noble daughters to marry out of his desire to marry me. That would, of course, be a rather bold move to accuse an emperor of such. But you may wish to consider what the implications might be if such a thing truly did happen. I leave it to you to decide whether or not such a thing is plausible. All I will say is that despite our marriage being one of necessity, my husband has always been very fond of me.
Well, that's fucked up.
To the woman who will marry my husband. As for responsibilities, your burden will be quite light. You will, of course, be expected to be the model of feminine virtue, but truthfully, I do not expect you to have very much trouble with this. As long as you keep your head down, avoid scandal, and keep quiet, that will more than suffice. As far as the day-to-day is concerned, you will have nothing to concern yourself with, as this is the royal family you are marrying into. As a queen, I run the management of the house's affairs, and will not require any assistance from you in that regard. As part of a royal concubine's demonstration of modesty, you will have to share my own personal servant, and will not have one of your own. While you will not have to be responsible for all the housework, be modest and do not remain idle at her expense. You're expected to be as unseen as the servants, and to be voiceful only in the most moderation. Do not speak harshly to your servant, and be appreciative of what she does, and not incompassionate. Your one sole responsibility will be spending as much time with the emperor as it takes to produce a son. After you give birth, you will not need to worry about raising him. I will be there to make sure that is all arranged for. Simply make our husband happy, keep out of sight, and give him a son, and you will have no more to worry yourself with. Jesus Christ. To the woman who will marry my husband. The virtues which you are expected to demonstrate are simply those expected of any woman, and given your noble upbringing, I will not condescend to treat you as if you do not already know them quite well. Expect to be quiet and obedient, to me as well as obviously to your husband. Perchance you are scolded, trust my judgment as your elder. I will never act out of anger or spite. If scolded by your husband, always respond with a smile, for your relationship with him must always be warm, and he is a wise man. I do not, however, anticipate such things will be problems. He told me of the interview in which he spoke to you, and had nothing to report at all in your manner of speech, so I trust it was entirely proper and polite. In light of that, I will also say nothing further of the matter. As far as my ritual obligations go, you have none, save for following in my lead. Both your mother and father-in-law are long dead, so you have no further obligations to them. I had trouble adjusting at first, but I anticipate nothing you could be surprised by. To the woman who will marry my husband. I will not tell you to avoid court politics entirely, so long as you do not cause trouble, but I will suggest that you simply watch from a distance. The temptation may exist to meddle, especially if you ever talk to the artificial girl Mute, who lives inside our computer. She's a gossip and a friend of the Smith noble family, and is responsible for revealing much of what they try to keep hidden. She may seem fickle, but she does belong to the House of Reunion first and foremost, and is quite loyal. Nevertheless, meddling is not in your best interests. Do not play politics, not only for our sake, or for the sake of being a virtuous wife, but for the sake of your own family as well. They will receive favor not through any scheming on your part, but through our husband's will. Entertain yourself with the gossip if you wish, so long as you keep quiet about it, but stay out of politics. In the end, you will manage to go much farther if you rely only on rewards for being a good wife. I think part 7 is the one we've already read before. Yes. Yep. Whew! That is, some crap.
Yeah.
Well, strap in and strap on.
Back to hell. Dear Diary, this sounds so pathetic to say. I've tried rewriting this a million times just to make it sound less pathetic for me, and I simply cannot. There were 2 things that made life worthwhile, 2 things that made this last year before I die be bearable. The first was Jaehua's company, being the one person that was friendly to me. The second is sharing a bed with my husband. For the past few months, that's what I've been saving all my energy for, that brief precious half hour every few nights where I feel fulfilled, if only in the most literal sense. It's the most lovely feeling, and now I'll never feel it again. The 2 things making my last year of life worth living gone forever. The past few nights I've been trying to get the Emperor's attention in that way, pleading silently for his affections. With no luck. On the 4th, or was it the 5th day, he finally took me aside and said, painful annoyance in his voice, "Enough. Stop that. It is completely inappropriate. You're supposed to be in mourning. Show some damned chastity. Or do you have no respect for my wife, and your queen at all?" He snapped. When I looked confused, he just lectured me. When I cried, he sighed, held me tightly, then left the room. I haven't spoken to him since then. But later that day, my servant came to my room with good news. I was to go visit my family for a couple months, while the house is in mourning for Jaehua. I couldn't argue, of course, even if I was able. So just like that, I was sent back to hell. I was dressed in the usual veil so nobody would see my face, as I was escorted back to the Kim house in the middle of the night. Mother and father were there briefly to greet me, and in spite of how I felt about them, I put on my bravest smile and bowed, and nodded politely to their questions about how I was doing. Then they had to go to bed and left, leaving me alone with sister. Young Suk was nowhere to be seen. "Hi," she said. "I never thought you'd end up visiting us again so soon." I shrugged. "Well, let's have some tea. It's just us still around," she said. I nodded. It seemed like a good enough idea. There was a pause. "Well, go make it," she snapped, removing any doubt that she might treat me with any sort of friendliness. Of course I made the tea. I don't disobey her anymore. "Thanks," she said. "So, young Suk is out, attending to official business at the moment, but you should avoid him. He's still angry at you because father-in-law finds you more important to the family than his own son. Can you blame him?" I had no idea what she was talking about, and she just continued. "So you really shouldn't talk to him. Oh, I guess you can't really do that, can you? Aha, well, you know what I mean." Yes, I knew exactly what she meant. "I'm surprised you're back so soon, though, especially now that you don't have to share your husband. Does that mean you're the primary wife now?" I didn't know. "Does that make you queen? Oh, what great fortune you have. Father-in-law must be so proud of you." I stared at her, wishing nothing more than to be able to kill her through sheer force of rage. How could she possibly say something so awful? My only friend was dead, and here she was, taunting me. What an awful thing to do. But I couldn't hate her to death, no matter how much I tried, so instead, I tried holding back angry tears to hide my weakness. I couldn't do that either.
You want to comment on that one?
Just, please, keep reading.
Okay.
Dear Diary, I was far too feverish to do any real cooking, so my servant was doing all the work for me that night when Father came in. I think he was drunk, or maybe just tired, or stupid. "You know, child," he said to me, "you grew up to be a wonderful daughter." I was shocked to hear him say that, and waved my servant out of the kitchen. I'd never heard even the slightest indication of that before. For the briefest moment, it even made me happy to hear that. That surprised me that I actually felt that way. As a kid, I never would have wanted his approval, so why now? He continued to make me wonder when he asked, "Do you remember what you were like as a child?" I nodded, but I wasn't certain I did. "You were so temperamental. You argued all the time. You didn't want to get married when the time came. You just didn't ever know your place, you know?" That's right, I didn't. That was back when I thought there was a point to being defiant. Why was that, I wondered? That's the part that amazes me now. I tried to think of a reason why I might want to be defiant, why I valued independence, and at first I couldn't even think of anything. I had forgotten entirely. Don't tell young Suk, but it really scared me. You were always the family's best hope for prosperity, but that attitude of yours, I thought I'd never manage to disavow you of those crazy, uncivilized ideas of yours," he said, while I tried to think of what they were. "There were times I thought it was a mistake to have hatched you, but you came through, you really did. I know it must have been painful, but I'm proud of you." Then he patted me on the head. "You turned out to be a good girl. That's all I wanted to say. It was hard raising you to be a proper woman, but you've turned out to be perfect. Thank you," he said. I stared, speechless, and I tried to remember, what crazy uncivilized ideas was he talking about? Thinking back to those days, or back to before I was frozen, I tried to remember. I had dreams of what adulthood would be, but they were so unimaginably different from what the reality turned out to be that they seemed impossible, completely impossible. Nothing more than childhood fantasies without a shred of realism to them. I tried to think of what they were, to imagine them. In those dreams, I was strong, independent. I wasn't just a wife in those dreams. I had a job, working as the ship's engineer, following in the footsteps of my father, my real father. I wasn't married in those dreams. I was happy just to go on dates with boys my age in the ship's plaza and fall in love before making any commitments. I dreamed of being free. The more I thought about it, the more I was certain. That's what those dreams were about. That's what I'd wanted. But Father, Kim Chung-soo, rather, had made sure to disavow me of those notions. I learned to stop arguing, to stop trying to fight, to stop dreaming of those things. In other words, I learned how to be a proper woman. And he was proud of that. Proud of destroying my dreams, and I would die under the house of that man, silenced, broken, hopeless, and unloved. I was overwhelmed by the strongest feeling I had ever felt in my life, the deepest bitterness, the most powerful resentment I could imagine. I looked at the knife near my hand and wondered, could I kill him? Before I died, could I at least have justice? I tried to lift the knife. My hand twitched, and it was too hard to keep a grip. I was just too weak. I'd never be able to do it. He smiled at me and said, "Sorry, please go ahead and keep cooking. I won't distract you more." Then as he was about to go out the door, he added, "Take care of yourself." At that moment, I vowed that I would. I wouldn't worry any more about all those people who had hurt me. I'd take care of myself. I couldn't stab him to death. I was too weak for that. But then I remembered there were other ways. If I disable life support, I can kill him and all the others too. It'll be quick, it'd be easy, and not a one of them don't deserve it. All I'd need to disable it is the admin password. It's perfect. Well. Well, so, there you are then. Now you know. It's true. I did do what she said I did. I'm not gonna lie. I really wish you'd never met her. I wish she'd never said anything to you. I just thought it was so nice the way that things were with us before. Things started out so well. I got to be cheery for the first time in my life since I was a child. Talking about actual romantic things together, having fun with cosplay, and just, having someone there to talk to. Someone who wasn't interested in shutting me up. But now, well, please. You've read my diary. You have to know it's not, you have to understand, right? Even if you think what I did was wrong, look, I've never really been dishonest with you. Fine, I lied about being an AI, but I told you the truth. I could have deceived you, but didn't. Please, you still trust me, right? I'd never really lie to you, not seriously. You don't have to think what I did was acceptable, but please, tell me you trust me.
What do you think?
I think we do. She told us all this stuff, even though it didn't seem easy. You do, really? Oh my word. I mean, of course. I'm so sorry. I should have had faith in you. I really should have. I'm really bad at this. But thank you. Thank you so much. I can't believe I even doubted you for a second. Look, that means a whole lot. That means a lot to me. It means so much. I mean, I'm sure what I did wasn't right, I know. I'm sure you don't think it was. I just want you to understand, alright? For someone I'm in
Yeah.
For someone as good to me as you've been, I want you to at least please understand. You don't have to forgive me. Just hear me out.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're really a good person. Much better than me. Thank you.
Aww.
Then, very well. It's probably just better if I show you. There's a data block that contains all the logs that matter, but my family encrypted it because, well, it should be obvious why after you read it. You need to drop to the terminal and type decrypt block 7. Let me know once you've done that and I'll show you.
Shit. Jesus Christ.
What the fuck happened?
Holy vey. Well, I guess we dropped to the terminal. Now, interesting thought. At this point, we could boot up Mute again and talk to her instead.
We could try, but I have a feeling it won't work.
Why not?
I have a feeling that there was a choice in the plot, and there was a circumstance that will prevent us from doing it.
Oh, you mean when we disabled Core 1 and can't re-enable it?
Yeah, I think it won't let us re-enable it. We can try if you want. We'd have to disable Hyun A in order to enable Mute.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Do we want to try it?
I don't know. Do you want to drop a save first, just in case?
Let's drop a hot save right there.
Boom.
Dropped a hot save. Wait, what?
We are from Seiju Colony, or not we are, but our sponsor is the Seiju Colony Historical Society. Interesting.
Excellent. Alright. So we dropped a hot save. Let's try this. So... Power control, disable,
Core 2.
Core 2. And then it's Core 1 with mute on it, right?
Yep. Oh. Oops.
I guess we can't.
Yep. Corrupted by radiation.
Alright. So we disable Core 1, right?
Yep, but first we'll have to do power control.
Power control. Disable Core 2.
Core
Right?
1.
Core 1.
Yep.
It's too late. Okay. Power control enable Core 2. A regular ass hacker now.
Yep.
And decrypt block 7.
Yep. Nice.
All right.
I'm in.
We don't have to tell her about that, right?
Very well. These are really hard for me to read. I haven't seen mine since I wrote them, and I haven't seen my family's, well, ever. Well, I think I've found... Here, I've added some. Just please read them. If you want to know the whole story, those entries will explain.
Good to know. All right.
The Nightmarish Bride.
This one's by Hyomin Chung. Seems that in the year I spent visiting my parents, everything has gone to hell in my husband's family without his knowing. Clearly I never should have left. He has an idea, but he doesn't understand how bad things have gotten. When I left, it all seemed under control. The pale bride would be of the right age to get married to the emperor soon enough, be able to use that connection to bring favor to the family. A good plan, except it turns out the pale bride is not even close to ready for marriage. Age has nothing to do with it. It's the maturity that she lacks. When she first awoke, right before I left, she seemed a little confused, but that was hardly unexpected. She had a whole new family to get accustomed to, and it seemed obvious enough that anyone born so far in the past would have some difficulty adjusting to modern life. But this is far beyond that. There's something simply wrong with that child. When I got back, the first thing young Suck's wife did was tell me all about how sorry she was for not being able to control the child. I rolled my eyes, as if a grown woman couldn't handle someone of her age. Are you going to raise my grandson like that? I asked. She was quiet. Let me see the pale bride for myself. First time I saw young Suck try to get her to do something as simple as sort out his laundry, she wasn't just disobedient, she was openly defiant. When I stepped in to admonish her, it had absolutely no effect. All she did was argue back at me. I tried every approach I could think of, appealing to filiality, explaining how important a virtue of obedience was, even trying to appeal to sentimentality, everything. She just kept saying the same thing, that it wasn't fair to make her do it. Here's the obvious concern, and it's what I said to her. Are you going to tell your husband he's not being fair when he wants something from you? I thought that would put some sense into her, but no, she just answered yes. There's no way this unruly child could possibly be marriageable. Not like this. She'd be sent back within a day. With good reason. What man could possibly want a nightmare like her in his life? You want to say something about that, or do you want us to finish reading first?
Mother, huh? I don't really know what to say about her, even now. This is the first time I've read what she wrote, and it's just, well, there's more. Here, read them for yourself.
Alright.
Alright.
This one's you.
Dear Diary, the good news is, health-wise, I seem to be doing much better this month. I'm sure this isn't a permanent thing. It's happened before. I can't really remember how the doctor from the past explained it anymore, but he said it was pretty normal, and not something to get my hopes up about. Still, some days this month, I actually had enough energy to want to move around. Not that I could move around, of course. I can't leave the house. A good girl shouldn't, is what everyone keeps saying. But I have the energy to, at least. And that's something. The big news is that the woman who's supposed to be my adopted mother came back. I didn't really see her much before she left. I might as well have been meeting a new person. I wish I could say I had high hopes for her. That I had thought that maybe she'd be fine. That'd be a lie, though. I knew she'd be as bad as the rest the moment I saw her. And she was. Of course she was. She's even worse than sister-in-law. She gives these awful lectures. I can't even describe them. They're that horrible. She's that horrible.
Ugh. Hyomung Chung, if you're so worried, why don't you just explain everything to her simply and rationally? Chung Su asked me. My response was obvious. She's a woman. We're not particularly rational. He said, you know what I mean. I could hardly do it, but coming from a woman, perhaps she will understand it's all for her own good? Maybe, I said, doubting it. But I tried anyway. She took her time arriving after I summoned her to my room. Can we speak? I asked her, trying to keep my voice calm. She glared, then snapped. Fine. I asked her to sit down, but she refused. Look, I said, trying to speak with her as an equal. Still didn't think my husband was right, but it was worth trying. I've been told that you'd rather be called Hyune. Is that right? She said, yes, bitterly, not giving me much to go off. It's a very pretty name, I said. Thanks, she said, but still her voice was unfriendly. My parents gave it to me. I said, you must miss them very much. She nodded. I don't understand, Hyune. Were you so difficult with them too? No, she said. They were nice. They actually cared about me. They were nothing like you people, I sighed. I care about you, Hyune. You're part of the family. You're a Kim. Your parents are our ancestors, and I know they think it's very important that we raise you right. If you want to be a bad, unfilial daughter and treat us without any respect, well, you wouldn't be the first. Do you really think an old woman like me really cares that much about your opinion of me? I thought maybe I tried appealing to her selfishness. Her marriage is important to the family, but clearly she doesn't care about filiality. It's you I'm worried about. Do you think any husband is really going to put up with you the way you are, even for a second? She kept glaring at me. That's all you keep talking about. Marriage, marriage, marriage. I'm 14. I'm 14 years old. What is wrong with you? Why does everything have to be about some man? Why do I have to marry somebody that you picked? She screamed at me. I remained calm. You're going to be a royal concubine, Hyune. We're not dumping you off on just anyone. There's no better man. I don't know if you were already engaged in the past, but your parents would do the same if they could. It's what's best for you. They would want this. No, they wouldn't, she shrieked. They want me to grow up. They want me to be an independent woman. That's what Mom and Dad thought was important. I don't want to be a concubine. I don't care about marriage. An independent woman? They wanted you to be a whore? I asked, my patience run as thin as anyone's would be. I didn't believe for a second my husband's ancestors were the monsters she was making them out to be. I was sick of this. Get out, I snapped at her. Just get out. Jesus Christ.
Sigh.
Yep, you're saying sigh out loud here.
Yep.
You gotta.
Are you just showing me that because you want to see more from her?
It's not why.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't know what to say. She was cool. So cool. Now that I've read her perspective, it doesn't change anything. Fine, she actually believed what she was saying. That doesn't make all of it right. I hate her. I don't care if she's long dead. I don't care if I was the one who did it. I still hate her. I hate her, etc., etc. Oh jeez, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to work myself up like that. It's just, you don't pity her, do you?
Do we pity her?
Not really.
Not really.
She seemed kind of mean.
Yeah.
Good, me neither. That's what I had to live with. Reading what she wrote, she honestly believed that. It just reminds me of how I ended up thinking. How I completely gave up and believed her attitude. She tried to wear me down. She succeeded. She doesn't deserve pity, and I didn't deserve what she did to me. I could never forgive her, ever. I'm really glad you understand. Sorry, I've calmed down now. It's just hard to think about, even now. I really do hate her. Oh, we can also say that we do want to see more from her, maybe? There was one big fight I had with her. The one that changed everything. The one I finally lost. My diary makes it sound really dramatic. I know, I was young at the time, but it really was. Just read it. It's exactly how it went.
Interesting. Let's keep going. Dearest Mother. And this is from Young Suck's wife. My mother-in-law has relieved me of any responsibility for looking after the pale bride. As a matter of pride, I feel bad that a simple child is too much for me to handle, but I'm certainly glad she's not my problem anymore, and I can put my undivided attention back where it belongs, onto my husband and his ambitions. Tell me, though, Mother, because I know we didn't always get along that well. I was never that bad, was I? Sure, we were both happy when I moved out. Well, perhaps I wasn't happy right away. I was more scared, but I'm sure you're relieved to have some space, but you never would have given up on me, right? I was never that bad, was I? Deep down I worry. My husband seems content to take his time to have children, which is a decision I can certainly live with. But what about when we do? What if I have a daughter? Will I fail her too? I've been telling myself that it's not me, it's her. She's a peculiarly unruly child, and it's not ordinarily that bad. It's not, right? Please tell me I have nothing to worry about. Please.
You know, I never did like her. When I woke up, she was just this awful person who kept saying the most awful things. Never as bad as Mother, but still. I didn't read any of her letters when I was alive, of course. But you know what really surprised me? She made such an awful impression on my life. I hated her the most for so long. And she barely even ever mentioned me. All my suffering, it was just a minor distraction to her. Nothing more, insignificant compared to her man. I sigh. There's one more from her that you should read. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how to feel about her. There's just one thing that I keep thinking, though. Just one thing. I have no idea what her name was. Ooh.
Ouch! That's you.
Dear Diary, everything managed to spiral out of control so quickly today. I wasn't planning on it happening this way. But here's the point where I make my stand, I guess. It sounds dramatic, but I won't just let them marry me off to some stranger. I won't let them. Just before dinner yesterday, Mother told me that I had to go to an interview with some man. The Emperor, I guess, for all I care. The way she put it was, I'd get a chance to see that he's a man you could fall in love with, or something stupid like that. As if, I said in response. And I spent the rest of the evening thinking about what I could possibly do to make it clear I wouldn't let them do this. This morning after breakfast, sister-in-law showed up in my room. Good morning, she said. Today's a big day for you, isn't it? Mother-in-law wanted me to help you get dressed and all made up. You'll want to make a good first impression, after all. I glared at her and summoned up all my courage. No, I said. What? She asked. No, I'm not going. She left and Mother herself came in. This was it, I told myself. This was the big moment. I'm not going, I said, before she could say anything. I'm not going to get dressed up. I'm not going to meet him, and I'm definitely not going to get married, I shouted. For a moment she said nothing and didn't move. Then she left too, without saying a word. I thought that would feel good, but it didn't. It just made me worry more. I couldn't have possibly won that easily, I thought, and I hadn't, of course. After a few minutes, she returned with Father, who looked incredibly angry. Min Chung says you're refusing to get ready for your interview, he said. Yeah, I stammered, not used to talking with him. I won't go and I won't get married. He walked over in just 2 strides, then glared at me for a second. I had no idea what he was going to do. Then he slapped me in the face so hard that it knocked me over. Yes, you will, he said. I'll drag you there kicking and screaming if I have to. My face in so much pain, I forced myself to sit back up. I won't, I said, bracing myself for if he hit me again. He did. Yes, you will, he said. I couldn't keep this up. It already hurt so much. I just couldn't brave that out. Then it came to me. If you make me do the interview, I said, I'll tell the Emperor that you've been conspiring behind his back. It was all I could think of, and all I could do was cross my fingers and hope the threat worked. It had to. He glared at me, and in that moment, I knew. It worked. The two of them looked at each other, and then they both left together. That was 3 hours ago. I don't know what's going to happen now, and I think my face is swollen. It still hurts, and I didn't want it to go that way. So that's me, making my stand.
Sorry, we needed a joke there.
I'll get to that, but for now, please just look at everything else first.
Okay. This one's from Huming Chung. The pale bride picked the worst of all possible days to throw another one of her childish fits, refusing to even get dressed for her interview. This one was with the Emperor himself. Not even my husband was able to get her to listen. He had to personally apologize himself for not being able to bring her as scheduled and lied about a sudden illness. You have to do something about her, I said to my husband that evening. She's completely out of control. I know, he said. That is quite clear. He looked so worried. I hugged him and tried to comfort him. Everything would fall apart if something couldn't be done. She threatened to say something stupid and dangerous to the Emperor, and we were both scared that she might. Maybe it's time to consider doing something drastic, I said to him. He nodded. I know, he said. I can only think of one idea. I do not like it. I would rather not. Even hitting her was far worse than I would have wanted. He explained this idea to me, and I agreed that it was terrible. And I didn't like it either, but it would stop her from arguing, stop her from ruining her own life. My husband was, as always, right. There was one only way. Recently, the pale bride's temperament has improved immensely. It isn't simply that she's now quiet, it's that she's actually respectful and calmer. After rescheduling, she had an interview with the Emperor, and she was actually quite charmed with her. Just so happy for her own sake that she's finally stopped resisting the marriage. It's all coming together now. Date's been set for when she'll be sent to live with him, and meanwhile things at home have been really peaceful again for everyone. Actually, it's better than just that. I've been spending more time with her of her own free will. I've been giving her advice for coping with marriage, and now the girl actually listens politely. Of course, there's little else to write about. Wish there had been a better way to get her to behave, but in the end it seems to be working out. I still can't imagine how awful it would be if she'd refused to ever leave home and simply laid life hell for us. Or worse, if she got sent off and tried to pull off any of that on her husband. She'd get sent back for sure. Maybe now things will finally start to come together for the family. I must admit, for a time I doubted the optimism that Chung Su expressed in the 319th year, but now it seems that he was right all along. What a relief. What's going on here?
Of her own free will. I can't believe she actually said that. It's wrong. It's completely wrong. I can't believe she could possibly have thought that just unbelievable.
The New Promise, from Young Suk's wife. Today, the pale bride finally left home to live with her new husband. As she isn't a primary wife, there was no fanfare or ceremony for her departure itself, so instead last night we had a special big feast to commemorate. I know I've said bad things about her before, but it's not just that I was happy to see her gone. She's been better since mother and father-in-law managed to get her to keep quiet. The thought of it still leaves me really uncomfortable. She was always just a confused child. I hate the fact that my family considers her so important and neglects my husband. I certainly hate her for not appreciating that status and fighting it. The fact that she doesn't understand the world? I can feel for that. It's not like I always understand myself. Regardless, it went very well. The big feast was my idea, and she was happy to help with the cooking. Earlier, she had spent the afternoon getting ready the dress she was going to wear when she arrived with mother-in-law, and she seemed rather anxious about it. While we cooked, I opened the wine early and poured it out for her. I think she needed it. I told her the same story I told you a little while ago, about how scared I was when I first moved in. It seems as though it was a lifetime ago, and yet despite all its strangeness, I've grown so accustomed to it. You'll eventually grow to love him, I promised her, just as you promised me all those years ago. Appreciate how good you'll have it.
You've read almost everything now. I know you've had faith in me, and I promise it hasn't been misplaced. There's just one more thing. I don't think you'll be surprised. You seem smart. I'm sure you've already guessed what it is. Still, go ahead. Ask it. Ask me the obvious question. Which of the questions?
From Mute's questions, you mean?
Yep. Question number 9. Why did you kill all those people? Why did I kill them? Here, You want to know what could make me look at my father's face and be filled with so much hatred? You want to know how I could possibly think my whole family deserved to die? If you haven't already guessed, here's my last diary entry. I can't say it myself. I can't bring myself to, even now. Please, just read it.
Do you want me to read this one, or are you good?
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Forever silenced. Dear Diary, the evening where everything went wrong, where I thought I was going to win with my adopted parents, well, I didn't. I lost. Making my stand, I wrote, just hours before it happened. Yeah, right. When I got called into the kitchen, they were both there. On one of the stove burners, there was a knife. I thought it was a little bit odd, but didn't care. Father stared at me and said, "The fighting needs to end now." He was so sure of himself. Of course he was. He had every reason to be. But I stubbornly stood my ground. I said no. "I do not want to hurt you," he lied. "Just promise to be less argumentative, and this can end peacefully." But I just had to fight back. I just had to say no. I just had to remind him. I wasn't joking. I really will tell the Emperor that you hurt me, and that you plotted against him. "No," he said, "you won't." He motioned at Mother and said, "Bring her over." She grabbed me, and I tried to dig my feet in, but it didn't work. Then Father pinned me against the wall with his whole body, and I kicked and screamed, desperately trying to get free. But it was no use. He was big, and I was small and sick and weak and frail. Then he grabbed the knife from the stove, and I shrieked in horror. "No," I screamed at him, "don't!" But then Mother grabbed my mouth and held it open. I tried to keep screaming, but I was powerless and terrified. When he raised the knife toward me, I thought he was going to kill me. It was worse. The next thing I knew, I could taste disgusting flesh as he stuck his fingers in my mouth and pulled. "I'm sorry," Mother said. Then briefly I could taste the steel. Then nothing but blood. All I could taste was so much blood, nothing but blood. Finally they both let go of me, and I collapsed onto the floor. "Why?" I wanted to say, but couldn't. I blacked out from the pain after that. Just before I did, I could swear I heard Father say, "You will not ever argue with any man again." He was right, of course.
Jesus. Like, even though I, remembered that from the last time we played this, still, what the fuck?
Wait, I thought you hadn't seen this, Root.
What? No, I knew this.
Okay.
Yeah. But still, what the... Ugh.
I thought you had only seen Mute's Root. Because of the log completion not having
No,
that.
I think I watched another LP of doing the other route. But Jesus Christ.
That's why. That's why I gave up. That's why I wanted to kill them so much. Sorry, it's really hard to talk about. It's just, I'll try, I'm sorry. I told you it'd make sense, right? That there was a good reason? Please, tell me you don't think I've let you down. I haven't? You mean you understand then? Oh. Thank you. Thank you so much. That really means so much to me. I'm so glad. I don't know what I'd do if you didn't think, well, thank you. Thank you so much. I was terrified, so terrified I thought you might not. I'm so glad. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, could we just talk a little more instead? There's something really important I need to tell you.
Yes. Sorry, I was being cheeky.
Right. I have really strong feelings about... It's not like I really think you... I consider you to... Jeez. I'm in love with you. I finally said it. This is so embarrassing. I know, I'm being really silly, right? I mean, geez, I'm sure I know what you're thinking, right? You think that's ridiculous.
Not at all.
You don't?
No, where I come from, AI falling in love with the first and only person they've ever met in about 600 years is a normal thing.
Where I come from, everybody dates computers. I'm dating like 8 AIs right now.
Hope you're cool with polyamory.
Oh, that's why. That's why I'm in love. Because you manage to happily surprise me every time. I never thought I would find someone who understands me. Someone who listens. Who would hear my whole life story and doesn't hate me.
Surprise, it's been a dating sim the whole time.
You really have been wonderful. I know. It's a lot to spring on someone just like that. And I don't know if you're even a man or the sort of woman who wouldn't have a problem with that and still unmarried. But if you are, do you think we might have a chance together? Even just a chance?
Aww.
That is truly the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been sort of thinking about this for a while. A little bit embarrassing, I know, but, well, we don't have to rush to get married or anything. I mean, you know how
Whoa!
scary it was the last time I was a wife. I'd really just like to, just be with you as an equal. Does that sound right to you?
Of course.
Wonderful. Oh, I really do. I really do love you. It's funny, isn't it? I know almost nothing about you. I have no idea what you look like. I have no idea how you talk. I have no idea what's supposed to be the most important thing about a person. If you're a man or a woman. I have no idea how old you are, although I suppose you must be much younger. Or maybe older, depending on how you look at it. Nor do I have any idea where you're from, or even your name. But I know that you take me seriously, that you understand me, that you don't treat me as something less, just for being a woman. I know that talking to you makes me feel better than I've ever felt in my life. And that's good enough for me. That's far better than I've ever had. So. Very well. I'll decompile myself now. That way, you can just drop to terminal and type download to copy everything to your ship, including myself. It should only take a few days to do a complete transfer. I'll see you soon, alright? So this is how my sister-in-law felt on her wedding night. Well?
Download that fucker. Download.
Hell yeah. I like that you could just be like, no.
Right? Okay. Can we keep looking at logs before we leave?
I think we saw the logs. And I don't know that we can. Ooh. Oh, saving. I thought you...
No, we've only seen 84%.
Well, we've seen all the ones that we have access to.
Okay.
Mute gives us other ones.
Okay. Yes, of course.
Alright. Time for a time skip.
Time skip. It just gets stuck on the beach ball of death. Boom, 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 boom.
Alright, we've now been sitting here for 4 days, and transfer's finally done.
It took a long while. I've been missing work. People are wondering about us. But we have our space girlfriend.
RoboGF.
RoboGF. Oh, I have to click through this. Okay.
Yep.
Aww. I forgot this was a dating sim in addition to being a really awesome sci-fi intrigue game. Good work on recovering the Mugunghwa files. I just spoke to the sponsor's representative on audio. He sounded really pleased with what you delivered. Credited your account with the standard payment. Listen, I've got another job lined up for you. It's on Earth, but it sounds like you might... To me, like, after that, you might like doing that. Because I can't read fast enough. Hey, I recognize one of those names.
Yep.
Guess it only makes sense that it should be available in Korean, right?
Yeah.
Ooh! So, the other 6% came from the last time we played this, where we did Mute's route, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Jeez, we're almost at completion.
Nice.
Wow, thanks for playing. Yeah! Awesome! Thank y'all so much for playing this with us. This was a lot of fun.
It is.
I'm super glad that we got to do this.
I'm glad we're getting the chance to play these again. I was so into these games,
I
still am.
I don't know if I ever told you that, but when you showed this game to me the first time, it fucking blew my mind. Like, I didn't know games could be like this. And now stuff like this and, like, fucking local host,
Mm-hmm.
you know, stuff, like that's all, like, my favorite shit now.
There's games without punching and shoot bangs.
I mean, don't get me wrong,
knew?
I like shoot bangs and punching, but, I love you so much.
I love you.
Hey. I'd smooch you, but all I can see right now is my hat's on top of your head.
Okay.
Aw. Want smooch?
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright.
Thank y'all so much for joining us.
Are you ready to download me?
What?
I'll decompile myself so you can download me.
That seems excessive. Bye, everyone.
Bye.